Michael. I am excited, Michael. Ask me why I'm excited. Ask me why I'm excited.
Why are you excited?
Because Thanksgiving is over, and that means it's Christmas time.
Oh, I thought you meant it was Black Friday.
Oh, no, I hate Black Friday. I hate Black Friday so much. But you know what I absolutely love? I absolutely love Christmas time. I don't know what it is. It's just like, it's like everything in the world just has they took like a peppermint shaker and just shook it all over everything.
Oh, God.
Like,
that sounds awful.
I mean, I don't know. I like peppermint. What do you they took like a meat shaker and shook meat flavoring, whatever it is.
The meat tornado.
Whatever it is. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Thanksgiving. Like, see, I'm weird because Halloween, I mean, you know, I'm not trying to take it away from anybody, but it's not my thing. People are just like, fuck yeah, Halloween. And I'm like, it's fine. I like pumpkins. And then like Thanksgiving, I like that because you don't have to buy anybody anything or put on a costume. All you have to do is eat a lot of turkey. And like, that's like one of my top 5 activities is eating a lot of turkey.
It happens.
Like I had the thought this year where I'm like, I should cook more turkeys with like stuffing and mashed potatoes because you know what? I can eat that shit in the middle of summer and it'd be great. And then I have like leftovers.
Yeah, who's going to stop us?
Yeah.
There's no holiday police.
That's right. Holiday police kicked out your door.
Come get me, pilgrims.
That's right. So yes, welcome back everybody to the beginning of the end of 2019. The holidays are upon us. It's time for the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
We're recording this on Black Friday, the coolest of all holidays.
Yeah. Because the shoppiest day of the year.
Because it's dark.
It's pretty dark outside, actually.
Yeah.
It's foggy as hell.
I hate Black Friday. Well, you know, the problem with Black Friday is that, okay, 2 things. One, and this is like a boo-hoo, woe is Jeff thing, but like by the time this holiday comes around, I already bought all of the games.
That's true.
I don't need a deal. In fact, the only thing is that last week I digitally bought Shenmue 3, and then Best Buy was like, we can't even wait for Black Friday. Black Friday deals start now, including Shenmue 3 for $35.99. And I was like, you fucks. You fucking fucks. You fucking do that to me. You sons of bitches. I paid 60 whole American dollars for that turd of a game.
Shenmue.
But yeah, the holidays, they're coming. That also, though, it's weird to me because the holidays mean like presents and family and like cool weather, and I like all that
but
stuff.
You don't like stuff, though.
Well, I don't like stuff. But see, I'm not going down that. I'm not going down that road. I'm going down that road.
I've gotten you at least 3 presents.
Yes, that's true.
Over
I keep telling you to stop, and
I don't.
You just won't stop. But the flip side is, of course, that like jack shit comes out in December.
Yeah.
Of course, jack shit comes out in December, so we have to play Gundam Tactics games that then become like the most popular video I've put out since the last Gundam game.
So many.
I play. I don't know what the fuck the YouTube algorithm. Guys, I'm just saying right now, 2020, Rage Select. We're full Gundam channel.
Gundam Select.
That's all we're doing is we're just doing Gundam because apparently that's what the internet wants from me is talking
Gundam Age Select
shit about Gundam Wing. So anyway, now that you've hit the downvote button, let's move forward. We're gonna do the podcast in a second, but I watched 2 things on Netflix that I would like to talk about.
Go on.
I watched The Irishman.
Okay.
All 3 and a goddamn half hours of The fucking Irishman.
Oh, I forgot it was that long.
I didn't realize it, and then I started watching it. I got through my entire 6-pack, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not even halfway through this fucking thing yet. I'd like to just briefly say, I don't want to... My attitude with this whole Martin Scorsese and the MCU thing has always just been like, who cares? Why are you listening to this old man? Like, who fucking cares about what he has to say? And I watched The Irishman, and now I'm legitimately mad at him because it's like, hey, Michael, did you know that there were gangsters in the 1950s and they drove like old cars and they killed their friends? Oh no, really? Like, I'm like, I mean, you know, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino, and Robert De Niro are mobsters, man, and people get shot, man, and I'm like, this is what you made? Like, I'm gonna be real clear here. I'm gonna be 100% clear. Like, Bringing Out the Dead or whatever that one was with Nicolas Cage, where he's the paramedic guy, that was a way more creative movie than The Irishman. Like, The Irishman is just like, I don't know. It's like if you took Goodfellas and The Godfather and smashed them together and you were like, hey. But then also I have to say, I'm not a big mobster guy. Like, I don't think mobsters are I don't have a lot of sympathy for mobsters. So when they're like, oh, woe is mobster. And I'm like, fuck you. You did the cheat code to life where you just decided to shoot people and beat them up. Like that.
So you're saying it needed Dick Tracy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it did. Well, like, okay, so my favorite Martin Scorsese movie is Casino because the main character, the Robert De Niro character, isn't a mobster. He's just this guy. He's this professional gambler. So he's like shady, but he's not like a killer. And then like, in addition to all the mob stuff, like they tell the story of Las Vegas in an interesting way.
Oh, okay.
It's a really interesting movie. I think it's a wonderful movie. I love watching it. And I watched Irishman, and I was just like, I think I'd rather be watching Casino right now. I got to the end of it, and I was just like, well, that was a fucking bummer. And it was 3.5 hours long. And they do all this digital face stuff. And I'm like, because they aged him down.
Oh, they
aged like
characters?
De Niro and people down so they could tell this really long-term story. But then it was just kind of like, I don't know. It wasn't exactly Goodfellas. It wasn't exactly The Godfather. But it was like, if you put The Godfather on one side and Goodfellas on the other side, there's a slider. It's somewhere between the two of those. So I was like, this is your grand artistic statement? Is like mobsters, y'all.
Everyone loves that shit.
I mean, just go watch Goodfellas again. It's a tighter movie, even though I hate Henry Hill so much.
Oh, okay.
Like I think he's just terrible.
Well, there's a reason this thing ended up on Netflix. Everybody's talks about how great Scorsese is, but no one probably wanted to put that in the theater.
He's got his moments, but have you seen Kundun?
I don't even know what that is.
It's like this.
Sounds like you had a stroke there for a second.
Nope, it was some Scorsese movie that he made. He's made a lot of, like, I need to go back and watch Gangs of New York because when I saw Gangs of New York, I was like, this is ridiculous. What?
That movie's weird.
Are you having a stroke? And then I went online and read it. It was like, no. That's like what actually happened.
Yeah.
Like there were dudes in top hats with knives, like shanking each other in the streets of New York in that time period. It was like medieval warfare between weird men and with beards and mutton chops. Like,
I think my favorite gag that involved that ended up in Ugly Americans. Because did you ever watch Ugly Americans?
I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, there's the main character's trying to show that like eventually as these guys became peaceful because in that version of their history, that guy was the guy in the top hat was a vampire.
Oh,
and so he's like, oh, now he makes pizzas. He's like, yeah, I used to do murdering and all that stuff, but then I started making pizzas. But then that got kind of boring. But then it made me discover my true one passion: seething hatred of the Irish. And it's just like having a competition with the Irish guy across the street, basically.
Okay.
I love that shit so much.
And then last night I watched Klaus. Which is
that's right. Yeah, the
animation
Santa thing.
Yeah, it's actually the first feature-length Netflix animation.
Oh, okay. I have a friend that's obsessed with it right now.
Wonderful, beautiful. It was a beautifully animated, wonderful holiday story. New take on. I feel like we've been getting a lot of this like. We're making a new Christmas movie, but it's a horror movie, and I'm like, I don't.
There's a lot of those.
I don't want that. I don't care about Krampus. Like, I just don't.
The first one was good.
But this was like, it was heartwarming. It was delightful. It was like 90 minutes long. It just kept moving, doing stuff.
Okay.
Lots of great jokes. It was funny. I laughed out loud a bunch of times. Wonderful animation. If you got Netflix, don't watch The Irishman. Watch Klaus, the Christmas movie. Get yourself a big, hot, steaming cup of hot chocolate. Put some marshmallows in there and like a candy cane and, light a fire and watch a wholesome family movie and just make your heart feel good. Just make your heart feel good. Well, I'm sorry that I've taken up so much time, Michael. Did you have anything? Have you been up to anything in the last week? Anything big you want to talk about?
Well, I beat Death Stranding, as I told you.
Yes.
As well as Luigi's Mansion 3.
Right on.
And both of them are fantastic games.
Yep.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is very easy.
I can't speak to Luigi's Mansion because I don't acknowledge its existence. But
it's weapons are my religion kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's good. It was fairly easy considering, but it's a kid made or not a kid. It's a game made for kids more than it is for adults.
Sure.
Even though it has some challenges. The last boss fight is really hard for almost no reason.
Okay.
Kind of thing. It was my only issue with it.
All right.
But yeah, overall, but it was like such a sweet game and everything was so much fun. Like there's a mechanic to slam the ghost, but you can use it to beat up other ghosts with ghosts. And I just kept doing that and it felt really good.
Sounds good.
But Death Stranding is just...
Ooh, that's a heady...
It is... it's hard to explain what my feelings are towards that, because I love Death Stranding, but there's so much like insanity going on in Death Stranding that I understand, which is why I love it.
Yeah.
But I understand if somebody played it and saw that insanity and was like, what is this? I would understand if you didn't like it.
Yep.
Except for the mountains part. That part sucks. The mountain part is lame. But other than that, the game is pretty much solid.
I think like I've kind of gotten over the mountains, literally and figuratively, and now my thing is that I'm at the end of the game and trying to woo the last few people who aren't like connected, and you just keep bringing them stuff. They're like, "Hey, thanks, man, you're the best. Here's 1/16 of a star," and I'm like, "Fuck you, fuck you. Get on the network. Connect to my Facebook page. Like my Facebook page.
Subscribe, damn you. Hit the bell.
Hit the bell. Hit the goddamn bell.
So I can zip line out of here already."
Yeah. We should probably have a larger... Because
there's so much to discuss.
Somebody asked, like, are you going to do a Death Stranding spoiler cast? And I'm like, I'm the only one I know that's beaten it. So now, but you've beaten it. So
but
maybe at some point we'll do that. Well, cool. Well, anyway, let's jump in. We got a lot of news this week. All the main offenders, nothing, all the normal stuff.
Yeah.
Let's start with Stadia.
Oh, let's not.
Everybody's favorite new console. Google Stadia.
Every time I watch YouTube, that's all it is. Every time it's a commercial, it's some dude going Stadia, and I just want to reach through my YouTube screen and choke him to death.
That Reggie Watts commercial or whoever. I don't even know if that's who it is. But
I hate him.
I saw somebody on the internet talk about how it's like that early internet, just like lol, so random.
Yeah,
like,
it really
sense
is
of
that.
humor.
It's annoying, and it's just like, I tried listening to music through YouTube on my, because I don't have Spotify normal taste in music. I'm listening to like the soundtrack to Dragon Ball and Halo kind of thing. They don't really put that in Spotify.
You sure?
So I got to go through YouTube.
Stuff.
I don't know. I'd have to look at it. But so I'm going through YouTube, and so every time there's another video, it's Stadia, and I'm just like, oh, I'm so sick of Stadia right now.
Yep. Well, guess what? I've got 5 Stadia stories.
Oh God!
Let's get through them.
Oh God!
So, first up, one of the things that Google Stadia had promised us was 4K 60 FPS gaming right to our TV. No console required. Attach your Chromecast, attach your controller. Boom, good to go. Apparently, like, nah, bro. Like a lot of people, there have been a lot of things recently from people that have gotten the Founders Pack that have been comparing it to like an Xbox One X.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, Red Dead 2 looks like shit on this, whereas it looks fine on an Xbox One X. So, except that this week, Google actually came out and said the reason that things don't look good is because of the developers. Apparently, they said that everything that gets streamed to your TV, if your bandwidth is high enough, should be 4K 60 frames per second. Now, what is being streamed to your TV is a matter of what the actual software is rendering on the render farms before it puts it to your TV. So basically, they're saying we are giving you 4K 60 frames per second. It's up to each individual developer, though, to make sure that game can run on the server farm at 4K 60 FPS, essentially passing the buck, right?
What?
Yeah. It's a little strange. It's a little bizarre. Here's a quote from who was this? Well, here's a quote. It's a statement that was put out. Developers making Stadia games work hard to deliver the best streaming experience for every game. Like you see on all platforms, this includes a variety of techniques to achieve the best overall quality. We give developers the freedom of how to achieve the best quality, image quality and frame rate on Stadia, and we are impressed with what they have been able to achieve for day one. We expect many developers can, and in most cases will, continue to improve their games on Stadia. And because Stadia lives in our data centers, developers are able to innovate quickly while delivering ever better experiences directly to you without the need for game patches or downloads. So basically what they're saying is, like, don't get mad at us, get mad at like Rockstar and Bungie and whoever else is. Right now, I feel like there are only 2 games on Stadia. It's either Red Dead or Destiny. Like that's really the thing that you're doing.
Well, here's the thing about this is like I kind of believe I believe them, to be honest. The issue is that they really should have thought of that before making these promises that early on, kind of thing. And it's also the same with any. I'm going to use console in loose terms in this instance.
Yeah,
because it's the first iteration of this thing.
Right.
First iteration of every console we've ever had has issues in the beginning. For all I know, Stadia will be great in a year.
Yeah. You remember that first run of Xbox One games that all had microtransactions?
Yeah.
And all the Kinect shit that was in there, as well as like all the TV tuner connection stuff.
Yeah, there was so much, and the PS4 had the touch motion.
Oh yeah,
for opening and closing things, or for turning it on and
not just that, but remember when the PS4 launched, they had HDMI turned or DHCP turned on. That's all right. HDMI ports, and you couldn't turn it off for like a few months before they finally updated it to be able to do that.
There was a lot. Yeah, every console has like something fucked with it usually in the beginning.
Yeah, the problem is that I feel like with a lot of those previous consoles, though, you still had people who were fans of the brand to move forward with, right? Like,
absolutely.
You had early brand adopters that were going to defend that console no matter what the problems were with it. Stadia, unfortunately, is they're trying to break in, and like what they really needed was to launch on day one with 60 games, rock fucking solid, like no problems, just plug it, play it. I can't believe how well this works. Like the Switch. The first time that I plugged in the Switch and I put it in the dock and it was just like on TV and I pulled out the dock and it was like on the Switch. I was like, well, goddamn, Nintendo, like you did it,
Well, the biggest issue with Stadia is that unlike when the Xbox first came out, it's the reason that everybody jumped on board the Xbox was because of Halo. Mm-hmm. The reason everybody stayed with the 360 in the beginning was because of Gears of War kind of thing. And the Switch had The Legend of Zelda first thing.
Yeah,
like it had every one of those consoles had something going for it to keep it alive long enough for it to to get its improvements.
Yeah,
the PS3 had like the Uncharted games for a while, that kind of thing. Like the PS2 had the Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yep,
PS1 had a lot of things going for it when it first came out, and so Stadia has nothing. Everything Stadia has is just like, hey, this is a game that's something else, and it has like one, I think, actual exclusive.
I don't actually know at this point.
There's an exclusive on the Stadia, but I don't even remember what it was called, and it was like some sort of puzzle game or something.
Oh, gee,
something like that.
That's what you need for 4K 60 FPS, right?
Exactly.
For the puzzle.
It's just like, guys, come on, like you didn't think this last part through very well, at least in the beginning part of it.
I think they should have launched it at 1080. Right?
Yeah.
If they wanted to do this, they should have locked down 1080 as hard as they can, 1080 30 FPS, make the hardware cheap, get it out in their hands, and then eventually be like, it's a free update for everyone. Now it's 60 frames 4K.
They can prove it works. Like, prove the proof of concept first.
Yes.
Kind of thing to us. Because you guys just kept saying buzzwords at us and hoping that we would bite. Meanwhile, we're just sitting here with our PS4s and our Switches and our Xbox One X's, and we're like, yeah, we don't care. We already have all the things you said that you can give us in the things that we already can do.
But Michael, 8K. They're going to be giving you 8K.
8K my ass.
Well, speaking of not having any games, actually this week it looks like Google poached 3 folks from Ubisoft, one of the executive producers on Assassin's Creed, and a couple of other folks that were on like Watch Dogs and things like that. And that seems to be because Jade Raymond is working on Stadia, right? She's one of the execs on Stadia. So they pulled a bunch of people over, and who knows? Maybe we'll find some first-party Stadia exclusive games.
Yeah.
But you're correct in that's the name of the game right now is like, I don't know. I feel like you're catering to a really strange market of people where it's like people who don't already have a way to play Red Dead 2 or Destiny 2 who want to play Red Dead 2 or Destiny 2 because, I mean, they even launched Stadia after the PC version of Red Dead 2
Yeah, it was a really bad idea, guys. Like, who's it for? Like, it's not for gamers, I feel, because gamers already have all the things that play what they say it has. And it's not for people who don't play games because a lot of the games on there are really hardcore games kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, who is this for?
They're so hardcore that according to some Reddit users, they're actually overheating the Chromecasts.
Oh God!
And causing like thermal shutdowns. Now,
oh Jesus!
Apparently, Google says, "Nah, that ain't what's going on here. It's some other problem." I didn't actually know this, but apparently, the Chromecast Ultra that they're using this has had heat problems its entire lifetime.
Really?
There was a quote from Google where they said, "We know any sort of heat on a device can be worrisome, but we can confirm there is no thermal overheating issue with Chromecast Ultra. During normal usage, like watching cat videos on YouTube, the surface of the device may get warm to the touch, but this is working as designed." Fucking what?
Yeah, Google's really bad about this. So my Google Pixel, because this is the second version, but my first one, if I did enough things on it, the back of it got really hot.
Yeah.
If I wasn't like just really, really warm to the point where it almost got like really, really hot.
Like you couldn't hold on to it, like uncomfortable to hold.
Yeah, I would like put it down and wait like a minute or two, especially if it was charging at the same time.
Yeah,
like I'd be doing something and it would just like heat up super fast. And they're really like, and they're always just like, it's fine. Just get a case for it, I guess. It's like, I guess, like, I almost burned my hand. Like, don't worry about it.
I'm like kind of a fan of Google just because I remember life before the search engine and the email and things like that. On the other hand, I don't know that I like trust their hardware. Like I had one Chromecast and it was okay, but you know, sometimes I'd lose connection to it. It was a little slow, it was a little janky, and it was like,
Like the Pixel, the phone has been pretty solid other than that heating thing. And I have a Google Home that I won at one of my old jobs, and it works fine.
Do you have it plugged in? It turned on?
Yeah.
Listening to you?
Yeah.
Ew.
It doesn't really.
I have two Alexas, and they're both like not plugged in because I don't want.
I literally just like asked it the weather.
Yeah.
I don't really ask it much else.
Yeah.
Other than like Mad Libs. It's got a Mad Libs feature.
There you go. That's the future. That's what Stadia needs. The killer app is the Stadia Mad Libs.
Exactly.
Play with all your friends.
Just get to say curse words all day.
Yep.
That's all we do.
Well, I tell you what. There are some new games coming to Stadia Pro in in December of 2019. Like Destiny 2 is already on there, and apparently Samurai Showdown's on there. But hold on to your fucking hat, Michael. Hold on to it. It's about to be blown off because Farming Simulator 19 Platinum Edition is coming to Google Stadia. Yes, you can drive a tractor in 4K at 60 frames per second this December at Christmas.
Oh my God.
Your children can bale hay with the best of them.
This is so bad.
Also, the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, but who fucking cares? The game's been out for like 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. Like, everyone has these games, probably.
Yep.
If anyone wanted Farming Simulator, they've had it already. And that's Farming Simulator.
I played one of those. It was not my cup of tea.
I don't understand what you're doing, Stadia.
It's one of those things.
I don't know what you want.
Yeah, I don't either. And you know what? Like, I think they got too caught up, too, in the fact that they feel like they got to get it out before next year when Scarlet and PS5
Oh, yeah,
drop,
I didn't even think about
right?
that, yeah.
Or at least the pre-orders for them drop. You've got a very limited window. It's kind of like when the Wii U came out and they had like 1 year before the PS4 and the Xbox One got announced.
It's kind of like what happened to the Dreamcast, actually.
Yeah.
The Dreamcast came out before the PS2 because they're like, yeah, we're going to get that money early.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the Google Stadia, it was like the Founders Pack was like $150, right?
I don't remember, actually.
Like it was, I thought it
wasn't cheap.
It was not cheap, yeah. Like if I could just get the controller and try it out on my computer first, that would be maybe the way to go. Or I don't know, even just try it out on my computer with my Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah, because I had coworkers that tested the Google Chrome thing.
The Assassin's Creed Origins or whatever.
I think it was Odyssey. I think
Odyssey
was on, like, you could play it on Chrome.
Yeah,
because that was apparently the beta for Stadia, kind of thing, and you got a free copy of Odyssey for doing that.
Yeah,
and it worked decently, is what they used to tell me. And that's what made me think Stadia maybe could work, but I didn't think it would. But they kept making promises that I just did not believe, and I'm glad I didn't believe them because it turns out I was right.
Well, it also goes back to this question of like, I feel like we've moved into a weird thing where previously, because we didn't have the internet to do this stuff, it's like you had to launch a finished product, right? Because you couldn't guarantee that somebody would be able to do updates or OS updates or things like that.
Or you would, if it was popular enough, you could keep coming out with other versions of it. Maybe.
Right.
like Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, but nowadays I feel like we live in a world where the norm is like launch it and we'll fix it later.
Oh no, absolutely.
Like just 100% launch that half-finished piece of shit. We will fix it in 6 months.
Like there are so many videos of games where they play it without the day one patch.
Yeah,
and they're just broken beyond belief.
Yeah,
kind of thing. I think Tony Hawk 5 is like the perfect example of that.
Oh, we're getting to Tony Hawk. Just you wait. But I tell you what, let's shift gears because let's stop talking about Stadia and talk about the future, the actual future.
Is this about the Cybertruck?
No, I don't have that. That's not a video game. So if they made a Cybertruck video game, I'd put that in here.
It looks like it came out of a game.
It does look like it came out of a game. No, we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077.
I was close.
And yeah, you were. You had cyber in the title. And apparently this week there was like a some kind of investor earnings call or something with CD Projekt Red where they released some audio from it, and they said that they're basically planning on a multiplayer addition to 2077 like after it comes out, kind of like GTA or Red Dead did. They're going to be putting out a full single player game, and then they're going to plan several months after that to be basically bracketing on an online multiplayer version or addition to Cyberpunk 2077.
I wonder if they're going to go for role playing or actual just like fighting, I guess.
It's a good question. And whether it's going to be open world or whether it's going to be like arenas. And if it's open world, is it going to be like stories, like team up and do stuff? I didn't get to read a whole hell of a lot on it, but this has apparently caused a bit of a kerfuffle because when they were talking about monetization schemes, they talked about microtransactions for the multiplayer. And so, CD Projekt Red came out and said no loot boxes, no microtransactions for Cyberpunk 2077, and they are sticking with that for the single player game. Like they actually put out a whole statement that was we think that when you spend $60, you should get a full big ass video game that you can play from start to finish without having to buy anything else. So their plan right now is to release Cyberpunk 2077 to do a bunch of add-ons, fixes, additions as the game needs when it first comes out. And then like down the line, they have a second team working on what will eventually become the multiplayer that will probably have some kind of microtransactions bracketed into it. And I don't know. I think that's all right, personally. Like,
I think that's fine, to be honest, because I would rather a single-player game not have them at all.
Yeah.
And if the multiplayer has them, then that's... and as long as it's also not, like, super egregious,
right.
I think that's fine,
like Battlefront 2 style.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I still don't have any problem with them when they're like Overwatch, right?
Yeah, no,
like,
absolutely.
Cosmetic, do that thing. I understand why people get mad about the whole cosmetic thing. I don't get mad about it because I can ignore it, and maybe that's my not giving a shit privilege, right? Showing. Yeah. But I'm just like, I don't care if my Mei looks like I turned all my Overwatch people to the default skin because I'm like, I don't want one of them to be a pumpkin head and then everybody else is just regular. Put them all regular. It'll be fine. But I don't know. This sounds like I have a hard time thinking of how this could be a deal breaker for anybody, considering the size of CD Projekt Red's games, the density of the Witcher and whatnot, and they don't seem to have a track record of being. They have a track record of being a bad company to work at with like excessive crunch and bad stuff, but they don't seem to have a bad track record for gouging their customers.
No, absolutely, and they're very very good about that sort of thing. Like Witcher 3 has so much DLC that I don't think any of it was paid for, like at all.
Yeah. So, that'll be thrilling when we get to it and see it. I mean, I guess if it's like the game. But let me tell you a thing that is far more thrilling than multiplayer. And that's it. Can you guess what it is?
Sharks?
Sex.
Oh, jeez.
Boning. Apparently, Cyberpunk 2077 is going to have sexy sex time, sexing it up. This video has been demonetized. Not only has it been mocapped, but in order to not break immersion, the sex scenes will be happening from a first-person perspective.
Oh my god!
Yes, with a motion captured person underneath or on top or something. So, that's going to happen.
Yeah. I don't know how to feel about that one.
Well, it's happened before. That lady in Far Cry 3 has sex with you at the end of the game in first person.
I guess that's true.
There's a lot of pornography on the internet that is in first person.
So why I almost bought a PSVR or whatever.
There you go. There you go. One of the only reasons to really own VR at this point. Outside of Half-Life Alyx.
Oh yeah, that's the thing.
We all know it's just a matter of time, right? Right. Before those two concepts get smashed together.
No, they've already probably somebody's already working on that now.
Yeah. In any case, it'll be kind of weird to be playing this. I look forward to many awkward YouTubers.
I'm looking forward to that, but I'm also looking forward to Fox News saying nonsense for an hour.
I
see how that goes.
I think they've gotten all like free speech, put whatever you want in video games. Like they flipped the script, man, right?
Yeah, but somebody's gonna say think of the children, and then they're gonna like, okay, we're gonna try this then.
I'll be like, have you ever looked at the screenshot for Cyberpunk 2077? Like nobody's thinking of the children in that video game.
No one is. It shouldn't be, is the thing.
Yeah. So yeah. And then we got a little bit more information because there was kind of some Reddit info that was out there. One of the things that I thought was pretty cool was they talked about how the side quests in The Witcher were very it was like a branch on a tree where you would just kind of go down the side quest and you would go and do your thing, and then it would end up. And how in 2077 they're trying to make it so the side quests will like loop back into other side quests. So like side quests you do will then change what happens in different side quests. To give you like a really big level of replayability where if you go back and play the game and
it's gonna be one of those things like if you kill somebody, like it's gonna probably affect another guy's reaction to you kind of thing.
Right.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool. So I'm actually kind of trying to ride this line with Cyberpunk 2077 where I'm like, I want to know enough to talk about it on my news channel, but I don't want to know too much because I kind of want to just go in there and boom, go for it.
I want to know more about Keanu's thing.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah. We could always... Are there books? You read the books?
Are there books? I thought it was based on like a tabletop game or something.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tabletop games have like novelizations.
Also, apparently, like I heard this from somebody that Keanu was just like, yeah, do you guys have any more things for me to say? And they just started writing shit because they were just like, oh, he wants to stay. Keep writing.
Quick, make more subquests immediately.
The Bill and Ted side quest right now.
All right. Well, let's change gears from Cyberpunk from the future to the present. This is a weird story. Apparently, the Pokemon Company is trying to sue some of the folks that leaked some Sword and Shield information.
Yeah, I heard about this and the weirdness of it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Because they don't actually know who it is.
Yeah.
They've got like 3 John/Jane Doe like people that they've cited in this lawsuit. Because apparently this isn't about any like the wireframes or anything that caused Dexit.
Oh yeah.
This is about like information from the strategy guide that was leaked ahead of time. And apparently reading this article about it, it seems like the Pokemon Company had like wherever they were doing that, like you weren't allowed to bring in cell phones and everybody got searched and it was like they had that shit like way on lockdown. But somehow some information from the strategy guide got out there, and the strategy guide was supposed to come out, I believe, after the game, and then it got out ahead of the game.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to track down these people on Discord and sue them. I think this is a bad look.
That's a very bad look.
Companies when they do this. Like,
it also makes them look insane because I've read parts of the affidavit. And it's like it mentions basically that they haven't found them through outside sources, which is they're essentially just trying to Google their username to see if they can find out anything about them.
Yeah.
Luckily for these people, they didn't use their username everywhere.
Right.
Kind of thing. So they found nothing. And so now they're trying to subpoena Discord to get their names.
Right.
And it just looks even worse on them that way.
Yeah. It comes off as so this is one of the it's like when Gearbox sent those like private, it's 2K sent like those private investigators to that YouTuber's house to like, how did you fucking find all this? Like, you need to just take this shit gracefully and move on.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that...
You still sold all of the Pokemons.
Yeah.
Like, it stopped nothing.
Yeah. And I don't think... I think the only thing that you could do is generate bad will for your company because it's not going to stop the next fucking 14-year-old who gets information about the next Pokemon game and then leaks it on the internet. Like,
it's just
nah, man.
It's really shitty of them, I think, and it actually just makes look like you said. It looks more bad on them than anything else.
Yeah,
and like you said, it still sold money. It's not like somebody looked at the strategy guide and then threw their Pikachu out the window or something.
Well, plus it was like 3 days after that when the whole Dexit thing happened, and people were saying, I'm going to cancel my pre-order.
I didn't even know that leak had happened. The strategy guide one?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Me neither until I read this. Yeah, you could have just left it alone, motherfuckers. You could have just left it alone. Let's see. From there, speaking of... Nope, that's not a good transition. Let us move directly on to some more motherfuckers. Electronic Arts. So
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Motherfuckers?
No, just actual Electronic Arts.
Oh.
Because everyone only says EA now. I almost forgot they were Electronic Arts.
They are Electronic Arts. I downloaded... I'm in the middle of... okay, so this is a quick aside. Last week, I really wanted to play Burnout Takedown. I've been talking about it a bunch of places. I really wanted to play Burnout Takedown.
Uh-huh.
I plugged in my Xbox 360. I found it on the Xbox 360 store. The OG Xbox version was on the Xbox 360 store. I bought it. I downloaded it, and when I try to launch it, I get this thing that's like, because I have the Elite, and it's like, you must have an Xbox 360 brand hard drive installed in order to launch OG Xbox games. And so now I'm like, Best Buy has a Black Friday deal where I can get one for like $40, but like I was willing to spend $10 on Burnout 3 Takedown. I don't know if I'm willing to spend $50 on Burnout 3
That's
Takedown.
So weird.
Yeah. In any case, Electronic Arts. And then I went. The reason I was thinking about that was because then I went and looked up a Let's Play of it, and I remember that. You remember when it used to launch, when it would say "Challenge everything," like they would whisper.
EA Sports or EA Games, challenge everything.
Yeah,
I remember when I got a GameCube, my brother was playing, I think, Need for Speed Underground or something, or something like that, and I'd be asleep and I would just hear that. Because he would be awake playing it. And I'm like, oh God, it haunts my dreams.
So apparently EA is taking a victory lap on Jedi Fallen Order, and they came out and they were just like, it's apparently the wording on this is so weaselly, Michael.
Weaselly?
Well, okay, it is. Let's see. It is the fastest selling digital launch for a Star Wars game in the first 2 weeks.
Okay.
So, like, right.
That's such a weird thing to say.
Right. Yeah. That's a very strange bunch of, like, I think they just wanted to be like, best selling Star Wars game ever, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's like best selling digital Star Wars game ever. And it's like, sort of?
Like, what does that mean?
But yeah, they put out this statement. You know, Zampella came out and said, on behalf of Respawn and EA, we thank everybody for their support, blah, 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 blah. And they're all just like, oh, man, isn't this such a great time to be a Star Wars fan? This has been great, and we love the fact that people like us. And it's like, yeah, bitch. Once you stop trying to give us these multiplayer Star Wars Battlefield clones, yeah, people liked it when you gave them a single-player Star Wars game.
It's almost like that's what people wanted this whole time.
Yeah. So, like, if you had started with that, then maybe you wouldn't have had to do all this.
Well, they canceled the other one they were making.
Yep.
Like, and they were like, no one wants this. And then it's like, no, everyone wanted it.
Like, fuck, bring it back, bring it back.
It's all people waited for.
Bring it back, bring it back, bring it back. I have a feeling that, because you remember when the throwdown was happening with Battlefront 2, and they turned off the microtransactions. And I think the only way that EA would have turned off the microtransactions is if the fucking mouse called them and was like, this looks bad. You turn that shit off at least for a few months.
That's what the rumor was, that's what happened.
Yeah. And then I get the feeling that there might have also been a meeting where they were like, I don't know what an online service is, but apparently none of our customers want it. Do that thing the customer wants. And they were like, okay, fucking fine.
I just imagine that Mickey Mouse from South Park that always pops up.
Yeah.
Just like walks in a room and just starts beating people.
Yep. Just beating Andrew Wilson, fucking Satan himself.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order made a lot of money, and everybody's claiming it's a great Star Wars game. I think I've talked about this a little bit around the edges. I kind of disagree. I don't actually think it's the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't think it's like a super great game. I do think that it is a single player Star Wars game, and that's a good thing
so far.
I don't know. I wasn't really super happy with that game. I don't know.
Yeah, and I just saw that. Yeah, John isn't either.
Yeah, too many just kludgy mechanics all smashed together for no reason. What? I mean, on paper, right? I know, like, oh, Titanfall guys are making a Sekiro Star Wars game with Metroidvania elements. Take all my money, and then I get it. I'm like, none of these are really none of these elements were done as well as the games you took them from. Like,
well, yeah, because I'm going through my Facebook feed every now and then. A lot of the people who I know have played it, they're like, it's great, I love it, I think can't wait for more of it. And I'm just like, I actually don't know if I'm looking forward to playing this more.
Yeah,
like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, man, I don't like a lot of these mechanics. Like you said, there's so many mechanics that just don't like. They want to be something, but they don't mesh together very well.
Right.
And that's really my issue with it.
Yeah, it's almost like just Mad Lib bullet points instead of like trying to make this cohesive.
Somebody looked at their Google Home and then they're just like, play Mad Libs. And then they're like, Dark Soul, Metroid, Force Unleashed. And then somebody fused it together.
Yep. So anyway, let's see. Speaking of Star Wars, we also got a trailer this week for Episode 3 of Vader Immortal.
Oh, jeez.
You know that Oculus game. You know, whenever we're talking about single player Star Wars games, there totally was one.
Yeah.
It was this VR game, the Vader Immortal Episode 1, Vader Immortal Episode 2, and now coming soon, Vader Immortal Episode 3, where you get a super fancy lightsaber, and apparently you're going to get to fight Darth Vader, but as Michael so correctly pointed out, you're not going to kill him. I mean,
games love having you fight Darth Vader.
We know who kills Darth Vader.
Luke Skywalker does. It's like, guys, we know how this ends.
Yep.
I don't exist in this universe kind of thing.
Yeah, I can say that while this looks all right, the fact that it's only on the Oculus, if this was on PSVR, I would play it. If this was a PSVR game, I would totally be playing it right now.
Absolutely.
But the fact is, I'm not going to buy more VR hardware just to play one game, Star Wars game. Now, a lot of people would buy a lot of VR hardware to play one Half-Life game, like Half-Life Alyx, but apparently all of the Valve indexes in the U.S. and Canada are on backstock at this point.
Oh, geez.
And now whether this is just Black Friday deals or the holiday season is one thing, but a lot of people have also thought that this might be because Alyx got announced.
It absolutely probably is.
Yeah.
People have been wanting more Half-Life for so long that they'll take anything at this point.
Yeah. So apparently they're going to be back in. The stations aren't going to ship until Christmas Day.
Would it be fucked up if you start up Alyx and then it just turns out it's Artifact? It's just it's just her giving you the cards, and they're like,
it's just Alyx playing Artifact with you.
Exactly.
It's a VR game where you have to hold the Artifact cards in your hand. Oh my God, Valve! I would love it. I would love it. I would absolutely love it. People would firebomb their studio if that happened. Oh, man. Well, speaking of shitty games that nobody plays anymore, Battleborn, you've only got 1 year to play Battleborn before Battleborn gets shut down. Remember Battleborn, Gearbox's great idea about putting out an Overwatch game before Overwatch came out?
No, that's a name I haven't heard in a very long time.
Yeah, apparently you can't play Battleborn anymore, you can't buy it anymore. And then in February of 2020, you will not be able to buy the premium currency for it anymore. And then as of January 2021, the servers of Battleborn will be shut down forever. Boo-hoo, tear, pour one out for Battleborn.
Poor Randy Pitchford and his cocaine money.
I love the fact that they put out a quote where they said, "We're extremely proud of the work that went into this game and want to extend our deep appreciation to all the fans for their support. We'll continue to provide updates on the sunsetting of the title when appropriate." We're so grateful and proud of this game that we're turning off because nobody plays it.
It's a shame somewhat because I remember being slightly excited when they announced it.
Yeah.
But then Overwatch came out and it was like that old Simpsons with the sheep where they keeps trying to get in front of them and they push it away. Just look at the other one.
Yeah.
Poor Battleborn, man.
It wasn't very well thought out. It wasn't
Well,
a
it's
very
not even-
fun game.
It's not
Like,
even exactly an Overwatch thing.
No.
It was a whole other game, to be honest.
Yeah.
It just had a really, really bad time coming out. Because when it came out, I remember Blizzard was like, hey, Overwatch beta again. Like, they just kept coming out with the Overwatch betas, like, every time.
Yeah.
They're like, we're going to extend it. Is this because Battleborn's coming out? Maybe.
It's like, don't worry about Battleborn.
Don't worry about
We love
Battleborn.
our friends over at Gearbox. You do whatever.
Look at this fast-talking British lady who can, like, teleport, kind of.
hey, look, we put out a new trailer. It's basically a Pixar movie about our video game.
Exactly.
I mean, maybe you want to watch it. Maybe
you love ninjas. Here's Genji.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, poor Battleborn is getting turned off. What's not getting turned off is Death Stranding, but it is getting an update where to address, quote, the most common requests from players. And this is two things. Do you know what two things, Michael?
Fast travel?
Text size,
Oh, okay.
which I didn't really have a problem
I
with.
didn't either, but I have a bigger TV now. So.
Yeah, I don't. I play on my 4K TV. I don't know. And the ability to recycle individual vehicles.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah, that because it keeps being like, you have too many vehicles. I'm like, I don't know where any of these things are.
Right.
Like, it'd be nice to recycle these kind of things.
I just make more vehicles. It's like one of your previous ones will be destroyed. I'm like, I don't give a shit. That's fucking
Already out there.
Golden truck was lost in the mountains like 4 days ago. I don't give a shit.
The golden truck.
Yeah. Let golden truck go. Let golden truck die. I tried to drive through water. I tried to drive through deep water on a motorcycle, and it was just like, yeah, motorcycle's fucked. And I was like, all right, c'est la vie, motorcycle. I guess I'm on foot. I don't give a shit. Like, you're a long-range motorcycle. I had that shit on my back already. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, the truck is great in water because I remember there was a point where it's like, you need to get through this area. There's BTs all over the place, but I'm like, I know BTs don't go in the water, so I just drove through the water.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Like, suck a dick, guys.
Pro tip, 10 tips for Death Stranding from Michael. Drive in the water times 10. And then speaking of Kojima, apparently he went online and kind of teased that he might be making a horror game next.
Yeah. I'm cool with this.
He did this tweet though where he said, as to make this is obviously Kojima's translated broken English, as to make the scariest horror game, I'll watch the scary movies in order to awaken my horror soul. The Eye is the Thai horror movie I rent when making PT, but was too scary to finish watching. The package is scary, so I rented the disc only. Will I be able to finish watching? The idea that Hideo Kojima goes to a video store and he's like, I want to watch a horror movie. What about this one? Ooh, too scary. Just get the disc. And he just walks up with the disc in his hand. He's like, this one, please. But I don't want the package. It's too scary. I'd be like, okay, sir, whatever you say. You're renting physical media in 2019. Take the box. Also, Hideo Kojima. Take the box. Don't take the box. Whatever, man.
It's thinking of Kojima being like scared of something and knowing what he looks like and how he sounds sometimes is just kind of funnily adorable to me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, too scary. Too
What if they
scary.
just look at the box and then turn it around and be like, no, I tell you what. It's not like my dream. It's not like if I had a magic lamp, I would rub it. But to be the guy that works at the video store that Hideo Kojima goes to, I feel like that would be a really fun. I mean, first off, I guess they still have video stores in Japan.
That makes some kind of sense.
So
they're a much smaller, tight knit area.
But isn't the Eye like a decade old?
Yeah, but it's still a good movie.
I mean, I've seen it, but it's like a decade old, right?
Yeah, it's been fairly old. They did a remake in America.
Yeah,
that had Jessica Alba, if I remember correctly. I heard it was awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I stopped watching those American remakes after The Grudge, where they just remade the exact movie and then just put Bill Pullman and Sarah Michelle Gellar in it, and that was the only difference between the two movies.
It's true.
It's just two characters that speak English, and then it was exactly the same, almost like shot for shot remake. Speaking of remakes and things getting better, this week we got an update to No Man's Sky Synthesis. They basically added a whole shitload of quality of life improvements to No Man's Sky. 3 years later, No Man's Sky is still just apparently getting better and better.
Good for them.
Yep. Apparently, You can upgrade your spaceships. You can salvage ships. They made some differences to the terrain editing system. To
Stadia,
make it
you can
easier to
learn
use.
something from No Man's Sky.
Yeah, custom outfits, first-person exocraft, and VR. You can ride the animals in VR now.
Oh, geez.
There's a new updated space map that apparently looks exactly like Elite Dangerous's. Inventory management has been changed. There's some new tech, new building equipment. Whole thing is just tons of shit. Free update. Boom, get it. I tell you what, I paid $60 for No Man's Sky when it came out, and I haven't paid an extra dime for it since, and it's had like 5... Like, it's unrecognizable now compared to what it was when it first came out.
Is.
So, good for you. Good for you, Hello Games. No Man's Sky. Oh, that's one that was also a big one. There's a in No Man's Sky, when one of the updates you can refine, you can do like, in Minecraft, you put stuff in a furnace to make it into ingots and stuff like that. There's a refinery that they gave you as an inventory thing in No Man's Sky to refine like certain things into certain other things. But it was like a thing where you had to place an item on the ground and then put the stuff you wanted in it and then take the stuff when it was done and then pick up the refinery and put it back in your inventory. And apparently this update also has just like one that's in your backpack now. So you can just set that stuff to refine while you're doing other stuff. I don't know, man. Like,
Good for them.
I wonder about how many people... if like people who were just like, Sean Murray, you should die. And they're like, I'm so sorry, Sean Murray. You were kind of a Peter Molyneux, but you're actually kind of delivering a thing that Peter Molyneux has never done in his life.
It's kind of amazing.
So, yeah. From there, let's talk about some trailers. We got a Darksider trailer. Does everybody know? Michael, do you know? Do you know that everybody knows?
The Muffin Man?
No, the Darksider Genesis comes out like this coming Friday.
Oh, yeah.
Like this coming Friday, there's a new
But on
Darksiders
Stadia.
game on Stadia and on the regular PC.
Yeah, also, yes.
So we got a trailer for it. Just is introducing Strife. There's not a lot to this trailer. It's mostly just Strife spinning guns.
It's a lot of flipping.
Yeah, and then he does a funny about having blood on his boot. In that moment, he kind of reminded me of Cade 6 from all the Destiny 2 stuff.
Yeah.
But then I remembered that like Fury from Darksiders 3 was deeply unhumorous. Like she didn't have any real like she's just angry.
Yeah.
Which is fine. It's fine.
Yeah, that's her character. Angry person.
I mean, like War wasn't exactly funny, but the Mark Hamill character brought a lot to it. The Shadow guy, and then like I felt like Death was like wryly funny, and he had all those dwarves, big dwarves to talk to. That was pretty, or like giants or whatever the hell they were to talk to, and there was some kind of back and forth with some of them that was dryly humorous. So I'm glad to see some dry humor coming back into Darkseid. I'm actually really excited for this because it's
I'm sure it'll be fine. But like it's just I'm not super great with stick shooters anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm very wary of them.
Why is that?
Well, because a lot of them just sort of they're either really short or they're just like overly hard sometimes.
Yeah.
So like it's hard to find the ones that are like exactly completely fun.
I think I'm trying to think about it, or I'm hoping that it's more of like a Diablo than a twin stick shooter type of thing.
Yeah.
I know there's shooting in it, but like I don't know.
That's exactly what I mean though. Like if it's like that, then that would be better. But if it's like what was that Halo one?
Oh God, Spartan Assault.
Yeah. If it's more like that, then I'd be like,
Yeah, that game was no good.
It was just short, really, really short.
That was no good. I don't know. I think Syndicate or Airship Syndicate. What the hell is the name of them again?
I don't remember.
Airship Syndicate. Yeah, they made that Battle Chasers game, and it was really good. And that's Joe Mad's company after they split off from THQ Nordic. So I have a lot of faith in them. Basically,
cool.
I don't know. We'll be seeing
we'll see how it plays.
Yeah, you'll be seeing a dojo for it in about a week and a day. So as of this recording, we got a really strange trailer for Ghost Recon's new raid. It's so strange. This trailer.
It's really like telling you that you suck. kind of thing.
It reminds me of Destiny, where they're like, land of smoke and fire, where humanity does not dare
Darkness and
tread, and like
you're not ready for this fight or whatever.
Lakes of sulfur, and then the fucking Terminators come out. I'm just like, what game is this again? I don't understand this game.
It's like they go to Mustafar and then the Skynet happens. And it's like, what's happening? I don't know what this game is anymore.
Yeah.
What happened to the Punisher?
Apparently, I mean, this is like endgame raid content. I don't know. I thought he controlled the robots. Did the robots take over from the Punisher?
Maybe he was a robot.
You know what? You know what?
Maybe he was a dog the whole time.
Don't tell me, y'all. I don't want to know. It's weird to me because it's like it's got a very. You know what it reminds me of? I'll tell you what it reminds me of. Like Just Cause 4, where it started to get like the mech updates and like the assault fortress flying fortress shit or whatever.
I forgot about that.
Because I'm like, I thought that Ghost Recon was about futuristic warfare, but like the characters that are the main player characters in this trailer look like hobos with tactical gear on. Like
they look like the dudes from the Medal of Honor reboot.
Oh yeah,
kind of thing. Especially the dude with the backwards cap.
Yeah, with the
looks
big
just
beard.
like the guy on the cover of the Medal of Honor reboot.
Yeah, because I mean, like I thought Ghost Recon was all about futuristic warfare, but then like Ghost Recon Wildlands wasn't about that. It was like, your 4 badass ghost operators are going to South America to take out the cartels, and I'm like, okay, that tracks. But now it's like all the enemies are futuristic robots, and your guys are just dudes with camo pants and machine guns, and like a backwards ball cap, like. How did it's like Ghost Recon literally went so far up its own asshole that it turned inside out, and it's like it's reverso now.
Yeah,
like
I could see that.
What?
Yeah, because it used to be about them being futuristic and the enemies not really.
Yeah,
because you were like overpowering them, but now it's just like you're just some dudes now.
Like Ghost Recon
Call of Duty characters.
What was the one? Was it like Advanced Warfare where they had the big dog? You know that lab,
the robot thing,
the like carrier, and like there were some of them that had like optical camo, so you could turn Predator invisible and like
that
sneak
was
up
like
on
the
guys.
first one on the 360 they came out with.
Yeah,
you were
and it
like,
was like
a Halo character in like a Call of Duty world kind of thing,
or like that was before every game in Ubisoft made had some version of a drone, but like you had like a drone to mark guys. You could see them through walls with thermal imaging and like shoot them through a door, and it was like. You're outnumbered, but you have the superior technology. And now it's like, you're outnumbered, but they have the superior technology. And I'm like, well, what do I have? And like, you're friends. And I'm like, fuck you.
The power of friendship and magic. What?
Fucking Jason Murphy posted on the Discord on Thanksgiving that he was playing Ghost Recon Breakpoint. I'm just like, dude, I will give you games. I will crowdsource good games for you to play. And last but not least, we don't have a lot of trailers this week. We got a trailer for the Stanley Parable. Which is adorable.
That's a fun trailer.
It's a 6-minute trailer where the narrator from the Stanley Parable reads people's emails where they're all very concerned about the Stanley Parable not having enough time to be getting rushed because it's supposed to come out in 2019 and having it be too rushed and then not be of a good enough quality. And then the Stanley Parable narrator is like, don't worry, we're fine. Everything's going to be fine. And then the last email he reads is like this very passionate email. And he's like, you've won me over. I will be your representative. I will make sure the Stanley Parable does not come out until 2020.
We will delay this for you, the people.
The people. It is the best game delay video I've ever seen in my life.
I love shit I love honest, weird things like this.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty great. It's pretty great because I mean they could just put out a statement. I mean we got what 3-4 weeks left in this year anyway. Yeah. Nothing ever comes out in December. Who gives a shit? Of course, this year we've got Darksiders. Halo, Watam, Halo Reach for Master Chief Collection.
I was like, what?
Yeah, Watam. There's a couple of other things in there, but yeah, this is a delightful one. I tell you what, even if you're not a fan of the Stanley Parable, I think everybody should go watch the Stanley Parable trailers just because the guy that narrates the Stanley Parable is
he's just fun.
It's so fun just to listen to him.
Even
talk
the
about
announcement
stuff.
that they did for this one was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So the Stanley Parable is not coming out until 2020. That's the bad news. Good news about 2020 or 2021 is that apparently they were talking about Matt Booty from the Xbox team.
What an unfortunate name.
Was talking in an interview with Games Radar where he was saying that going into 2020, he thinks they're going to be able to deliver a first-party Microsoft game every 3 to 4 months. which is
They bought a lot of studios, so I could believe that actually.
it's better than what they've been doing, right?
Yeah.
It's better than every like 2 a year, right?
They're all Gears of War games.
Yes. Is that Gears of War Tactics game?
Gears of War babies.
That was like 2 E3s ago. They announced it, and then it just nobody's ever fucking talked about it ever again.
Never come up ever again.
Whereas it was going to be like on the Xbox, but not on the PC for some reason, and it was
a
like,
strange idea.
What are you fucking talking about? So I don't know. I mean, like that's been my big complaint with Xbox until the Game Pass came out was not enough first party titles.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
And in a lot of ways, the Xbox Game Pass by putting things like Outer Worlds on it. It makes it, even though Outer Worlds is not a first-party title, it's such a high-profile title that getting it as part of Game Pass is almost as good as having a first-party Xbox exclusive title come out. So who knows? I don't know. It'll be interesting. You want to put down some money? You want to make some wild speculations? Who wins in the PS5 versus Scarlet war?
Well,
I think the PS4 has kind of got this gen on lock,
well,
right?
It's probably going to be a history repeats itself thing.
Yeah.
Remember, like the PS2 was doing great, and then the PS3
they got too full of
cocky,
themselves,
and it's going to be the same thing because Xbox got cocky,
Yep.
and was like, "You guys love television, right?" They're like, "No." They're like, "Great, and here's a television attachment." They're like, "Okay." And then it did horribly, and so or not horribly, but it did badly at
So
the
you think
beginning.
the fates may switch again where PS5 comes out and it's too expensive, loaded with shit, and Microsoft is like $200 for next gen system. Fuck you, Sony. I remember 14, 13, something like that, when Sony came out and was like, you can play used games all you want on our system, and the fucking got a standing ovation.
Yeah. What was that video they made? Like apparently in the backstage.
Yeah.
How to borrow games from your friends.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a big fucking middle finger.
Would it be amazing if On Live just came back out of nowhere? Just beat up Stadia.
Beat up Stadia? They came back and ruined Stadia? I'm interested though. I'm interested. You know what? I'm like what's his name in Godzilla? Let them fight.
Yeah, let them fight.
I want them to fight.
Let them fight.
I want them to fight for every penny.
I want to have a hard time picking between the two again.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yep. I'll tell you what I don't have a hard time picking is that State of Decay 2 when it comes out on Steam in 2020.
Neat.
Because I think State of Decay 1 and 2 kind of suck. I don't know why people are so into those games, but...
I forgot they existed.
Yep. You remember how State of Decay last year, like, because they didn't... Was it last year or was it this year? Where they didn't have very many games coming out on the Xbox One, and so they pumped up State of Decay 2 like it was a big first-party release for only on the Xbox, and then when it came out, everyone was like, this? It was like, yeah.
I don't remember any of this.
Okay.
That shows how well that game did.
Yep. In any case, apparently it's going to be coming out on Steam next year, so if you got Steam.
Oh, now I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did
the zombie one.
They were really trying to make that a big thing.
Yep.
Oh, those poor bastards.
Speaking of zombies, we got a few unconfirmed leaks that appears that they're probably going to be doing RE3 announcement either later this year or early next year, and then out next year sometime.
I think it's a great idea though on that one because I've never actually played RE3.
Yeah,
and I actually don't know a lot of people who did either, to be honest.
Yep. The only drawback to this is that I really, really, really wanted to see where they took the story after Resident Evil 7, and they keep. They put out 2, that's fine. Now they've got that Operation Resistance or whatever the hell it's called, where the asynchronous multiplayer with the 4 people and the 1 person.
Oh, okay.
That's the next thing they're putting out, and then it's probably this is going to be the thing after that. I'm just like, guys.
Well, I think it gives them more time to develop the idea for 8 instead of rushing it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing, to be honest.
Apparently this was leaked by Spawnwave, who was a YouTuber who's had a pretty good track record. Apparently he'd leaked Elden Ring, and that turned out to be the thing that it was, the From Software George R. R. Martin thing. Speaking of leaks, we got another leak that says that Tony Hawk Pro Skater is probably going to be coming back in one way or another. You remember how I said we'll get back to Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5?
Oh, yeah, I already forgot about that. Kind of like Tony Hawk.
Yeah, apparently there was like an internal demo at, is it Activision? Or it's Activision, right?
is the guy who still has that
Yeah.
the license for that.
For remastering 1 and 2 a la the way they've done Spyro and what was the other one? Crash.
Yeah.
We're not entirely certain whether it's that or whether they're working on Tony Hawk Pro Skater 6. If I had to make a guess, I would say a fully remastered version of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 would probably be better for them than a 6.
It's a better idea because they already have a framework that they'll just have to update.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and maybe it'll have Spider-Man again. Who knows? But
you can wake me up when Tony Hawk Underground gets remastered.
my favorite thing about Tony Hawk right now is his tweets about people not knowing he's Tony Hawk.
Not recognizing him.
I love that shit because people are like, "Are you like, hey, you look a lot like Tony Hawk?" He's like, "I get that a lot."
Apparently, what was the thing that I read? Or what was? Where did I hear this? That like Bill Murray filled out an application for like a Sbarro in the Atlanta airport or something.
Oh yeah,
and then just left. And they were like, we will hire you. He was like, it seems like a cool place to work. I'd like to fill out an application. And they just gave it back to them and like left. And they were like, Bill Murray, if you want to work in this Sbarro, we'll let you. And he was like, bye. I was like, okay.
There's a lot of weird celebrity stories out there.
Bill Murray just doing whatever Bill Murray feels like.
Yeah.
I don't know if Bill Murray feels like it or not, but he won't be able to play the Elder Scrolls Blades on the Nintendo Switch until 2020 because it's been pushed back. I don't know if anybody...
I forgot that was a thing until you said that.
Yep. Now, there's a headline on this from VG247 that says Elder Scrolls Blades delayed to 2020 on the Switch, but that's actually not such bad news because apparently I don't really know anybody who plays Elder Scrolls Blades. It's been so universally derided and shat upon. But apparently there's a patch coming out before the end of the year to take off the timers on all of the treasure chests. Because that was the thing where it's like every chest you got, there was a timer to open it and you had to pay the premium currency to make it go down faster. Or like wait a day to open a chest to get something out of it.
Oh, jeez.
Apparently they're taking that out. So
good for them, I guess.
mean, this is just put this in the column of like, Blizzard, have you lost your damn mind? Like, what is wrong with you?
They absolutely have.
I mean, you've already tarnished Fallout so hard, and now you're just like, let's fuck up Elder Scrolls too. I tell you what,
Bethesda,
man.
right? Because you said Blizzard on that one.
Oh, I did mean Bethesda. Thank you very much. I'm very sleepy today.
They're both batshit insane. To be
very
honest.
sleepy today.
One of them murdered Battleborn right in front of us, and we did nothing.
That's right.
We clapped.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is next year when they come out on stage at E3, they better have a fucking showstopper lineup. I don't know what they're gonna have.
I don't know,
but it better be fucking great.
They fucked up so much.
It better be fucking great. I mean, who knows? Maybe they'll put out a trailer for Elder Scrolls 6 and everybody's just like, yeah, fuck it, I forgot everything that happened over the last 4 years.
Maybe they'll have that space game.
Oh yeah. I don't even want to think about that because like Elder Scrolls in space is literally something that I would love, and I do not trust them anymore. I do not trust
fair.
them. So let's see. Some other news we got. Apparently, the Genesis Mini has been slashed down from $80 to $50 for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. So if you have an interest in getting one of those, apparently from all the reviews, it was supposed to be one of the best. Like,
yeah, my roommate bought one.
Great selection of games and good UI.
Yeah, it's actually got some pretty solid stuff. The controller feels real nice, and it comes with 2 controllers right away.
Yeah,
instead of just one like the Nintendo ones do.
So not to just be a shill, but I like these mini consoles, and
They're
if
great.
I had an extra $50, I would buy one of these Sega Genesis Minis. Last but not least, a couple quick fun things. So we got a weird report last week where apparently the Sonic redesign for the Sonic movie, which was estimated to cost like millions and millions and millions, ended up costing them $5 million and wasn't like a huge amount of work, or is turning out not to be a huge amount of work. which is good because a lot of people, there was like this weird sub story. Like the main story was everybody hates the way Sonic looks. And then there was a weird sub story that was like, because the internet hates a thing, you're going to put your CGI department in like crunch for 8 months straight to get a redesign of Sonic going on. But apparently it's not as big of a deal as all that, according to the studio.
The only thing about that is that kind of screams to me that there wasn't a lot of Sonic to begin with.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. It probably is one of those things where like Sonic was super side character kind of thing.
I'm actually thinking that what it means is that the new design, that they were able to get the rigging on it to the point where they could use all the animations they already did, but just put a new model in on top of it and then re-render the scenes out.
That's possible. The other thing is that maybe they weren't all that far into it anyways.
It's possible too,
because there's a lot of sequences that there's the poses are the same, but they're clearly in different areas.
Right.
Like for instance, that part in the beginning of the first trailer. He when he does that, like the starting run where he puts his hands down.
Yeah.
That part's like in like the middle of like nowhere on like a desert, but in the new trailer it's in clearly the Green Hill Zone.
Oh,
kind of thing. So it's like, well, maybe they just didn't have all that stuff made yet. So
entirely possible, but good news if true, good news. And last but not least, okay, so maybe you've got Jedi Fallen Order on the PC, and you're just fed up. We're fed up with looking at this fucking 12-year-old ginger Jedi, and you want to change it. Well, apparently there are plenty of mods out there now to make Cal Kestis look like a grizzled veteran. They put hair on his face and grizzle up his hair. There's one that I love where they basically just give him like a mustache, like a real. Like a real kind of creepy,
mature Cal face texture
mustache.
He looks like Stanley Whiplash.
So, yeah, apparently the big problem in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was the hair color and lack of mustache for Cal Kestis.
He's going to go after Dudley Do-Right in that picture.
But the internet's got you covered. So, yeah, go get your free Cal Kestis skins. Apparently there's also some skins that give you a different outfit for him, which I'm like,
that would be nice.
That would have been nice.
Because all he wears is fucking ponchos.
Yep. Well, you
got a new poncho color. Oh my god!
Stop wearing ponchos. Maybe you would be so breaking. Maybe the Empire wouldn't just scream, "There he is!" if you just wore like a jacket instead of a poncho.
It's like Assassin's Creed, where there's always like an old dude wearing white, and they're like, "How do we not know that's the assassin?" kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the guy with the hoodie and like a million weapons hanging off of him that looks different than everybody else in the entire street?
Big old belt buckle kind of thing.
Yep. See, that's like, I feel like the Templars are stupid. If they really wanted to get rid of the assassins, they would have outlawed white hoodies, right? They're authoritarian dictators.
You're not allowed to wear hoodies anymore. It's just not a thing.
Yeah, nobody can wear a hood. Monks, we don't give a shit. You can't wear them anymore. And then the assassins do it, and they're like, yeah.
It's that guy. There he goes.
Yep. In any case, we're going to take a break now. But when we come back, we're going to do questions. So stick around, everybody, and we'll see you in just a minute. Michael, we're back. For the audience, it's been like 12 seconds, and for us, it's been like 10 minutes. And
we just talk shit about your mom the whole time.
That's specifically you, listen. No, I would never say anything bad about your mom, listener. MailRightSide.com is the email address. Get your mom to send a question in. Get her to send me a question.
Have your grandma send us questions.
In fact,
we think she's a classy lady.
I feel like this question kind of relates to moms a little bit.
Okay.
The Unknown Ronin writes in and says, "Dear Rage Light, Have you heard about what'll be happening on YouTube by January 2020? If you haven't, from what I understand, YouTube and the FTC will be heavily demonetizing, if not flat out banning, various YouTube channels for being too child-friendly due to stipulations set up by the Child Online Protection Privacy Act, COPPA. And a lot of creators have expressed concern over this due to how vague the stipulations are, especially with what exactly classifies as kids' content. Learn more about it. Here's a Game Theorist video, which is actually a really good video. There's a bunch of people that have done good ones. Folding Ideas did a pretty good one on it, too. Anyways, curious to hear your thoughts on the issue. I apologize in advance if you guys have already talked about it. Thanks for reading. Hope you're doing well. And that's from the Unknown Ronin. So just as a brief rundown, you should go watch one of those other videos if you don't know what's going on. But basically, a lot of this goes back to YouTube and the algorithm and all the Elsa Spider-Man pregnant videos.
A lot of weird shit.
And how YouTube, if you're on YouTube proper, you're not supposed to be under 13. Like YouTube proper is for 13 and up, and YouTube Kids is for below 13.
Yeah.
YouTube kind of got their hand caught a little bit collecting basically user data from children in order to do targeted advertising. That goes against the Child Online Protection Privacy Act because privacy in particular, you're not supposed to do that. They got fined, I think it was like $100 million by the FTC, which they paid. And so now going forward, so I got the message a little while back where they were like, you get a new thing on YouTube and you must do it. And it says, is your channel A, for children, B, not for children, C, I will determine on a video by video basis what is and what is not for children. Now, I clicked B and hit OK. And now every time I open it up, they're still like, you gotta check the box. I'm like, fucking check the box, Brent. This is not a show for children. Children should not
Definitely
be listening
not.
to the Rage Select at all. At all. Now, the thing that's got a lot of people worried is that the actual COPPA, the way it's worded is like, if I make content and say it is not for children, but it appeals to children, then I'm still in violation of the Children Online Privacy and Protection Act.
Yeah.
And that there's something where it's like, I think it's like $46,000 per infraction. So like if your YouTube channel, if they were like, oh yeah, all of your videos are for children and they're all in violation, you owe us $1 billion or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's I feel like from my point of view, this is a real good news, bad news, and then like other news to talk about situation. The good news is that I highly, highly, highly doubt, because they are way underfunded and way undermanned, that the FTC is going to be going after like me, you know. It has, though, had me thinking twice about puppet intros because those look like they're for children. You know, I got a Muppet made out of my face, but he swears a lot, talks about his dick a lot. There's a lot of things going on with Puppet Jeff.
It's not like it's a Puppet Jeff show,
right?
I guess it's not like a Muppet show kind of thing.
Yes,
like he's only in the beginning, and it's not like on every video.
Yes,
it's much easier to discern that. But there are YouTubers there's a YouTuber that my roommate introduced me to called Tony Goldmark. Have like all of his videos are about basically reviewing Disneyland rides kind of thing, or amusement park rides. And he had to add like a disclaimer at the beginning of his videos recently that's like, hey, this isn't for kids, even though, you know, I'm going to talk about literally Disneyland kind of thing. Yep. It's like, but like if you're watching this, like have an adult or something present, or just don't watch it kind of things, like please, for love of God kind of thing.
So I think that there's going to be the problem comes in volume, right? Is that there is going to be a limit to the number of channels that the FTC can go after and bring to court, to take them to court, pay a lawyer, prove that they did this maliciously, which is going to be very difficult, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is that so the good news is that I don't think anybody's going to get, you know, I've got like 4,000 videos or something. I don't think that they're going to be like, Jeff from Rage Select, you owe us 4,600 times 4,000.
Because you talked about Digby's in the Mario game. Right. Thing. It's like, that was a typo.
Especially because it's like, I have never said that this is a show for children.
No.
It is not a show for children.
You said it's a show for grandmothers, but that's different.
Grandmothers are not protected by the COPPA.
Exactly.
So that's the good news. The bad news is that I'm pretty sure that this means that Google's going to fuck all of us.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
That your videos are going to be pretty much demonetized no matter what if you choose the not friendly for children thing, right?
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's a lot of the stuff that YouTube is pushing these days that is kind of an E for everyone type of thing. Like even stuff like some of the even when you think of some of the the less raunchy late night political monologues, I'm like, a child may not understand what the hell they're talking about, but I don't think they're going to have to worry about salacious content, right?
Well, sometimes there was a clip about Conan O'Brien talking to Sonic about his new redesign.
Yeah.
And it was a dude in a Sonic costume with a giant dong.
Yeah.
That was super pixelated. And I was just like, this is definitely that gray area kind of thing. It's like this may accidentally show up with a kid thing.
Yeah, so I don't think that the FTC is going to be dropping the hammer, but I think that YouTube is going to be using this. I think it's going to be Adpocalypse 2.0, where they're just going to, and not only that, but I think that there's going to be okay. So last week, I don't know if anybody knows this, but Matt and I several months ago made a video for Gun Battle Operations 2, and that video has fucking 35,000 hits on it.
Oh, shit, right?
Sayonara Wild Hearts has 500 hits, right? So something happened in the algorithm where if you put my Ghost Recon Breakpoint video up against Video Game Donkey's Ghost Recon Breakpoint video or whatever, it's going to put his before mine because he's got a lot of subscribers. If Markiplier plays Control, and Amanda and I are playing Control. Did you not know that?
We're 34,000. You're 34,000 on that one.
For some reason, and it's one of the first videos that comes up if you search for that game.
Oh my God.
I don't know how it happened, but then this week, Michael and I played SD Gundam G Generations Battle
Cross-raised
Tekken Battle Tennis or whatever, and that video on Thanksgiving went up and has 4,000 hits.
It's at 6,000 now.
6,000 hits,
and it's only been 2 days.
It's been 2 days, and again, our video for Pokemon got 1,000, and that was it. So we know that, and this is just me talking out my ass. Here's the thing. This is C. This is part C of my thing.
Yeah.
Rage Select has 12,000 subscribers, right? Sayonara Wild Hearts, Amanda and I, we were funny. That game is charming. It was really fun to play. It was fun to watch. That game's going to top out at 700 hits total.
Yeah.
700. That is garbage. When I launched Rage Select, we would get 3,000 hits for a part 1 and 2,500 for a part 2. Right? Yeah. As time has gone on, that has dropped down. Now, I have no idea, and it's bad for my mental health, because I will always take anything bad happening as the reason is because I'm bad.
Oh, okay.
The reason that it's bad is because Jeff is bad, and if you weren't so stupid, motherfucker, then your channel would be doing better. But in a lot of ways, it's I haven't seen a huge subscriber drop off from Rage Select, and a lot of that's probably people who subscribed and they don't know. But I don't know over the years the way that the hits have gone down, whether that is me. People have just gotten sick of me because I'm old now or crankier or whatever. I mean, I get it. I'm different than I was when I started this channel.
No, it's true.
I started this channel 6.5 years ago. I'm 41 now. I was 35 when I started the channel. I am a different human now than I was when I was 35.
Time for the dog.
Yeah. He's got gray hair.
He's not a different human, is what I mean.
Well, that's true. But so I don't know if the people not watching anymore are due to the fact that they don't like what things that I'm saying. If they do, that's fine. I'm not going to somebody had made a comment like that one time, and I thought about it, and I was like, well, what am I going to do? Just pretend to be a different person in order to get more subscribers? Put on an act? Be I'm Jeff. I hate liberal SJW snowflakes. Get out of my video games, you snowflake. I mean, I don't care.
No, yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be who I am, and if the channel doesn't perform well, say la vie. However, I know now that apparently if you shoot the algorithm right in the sweet spot, you go from getting 500 hits of video to 34,000 hits of video for no reason, or from 500 hits of video the day before to like 6,000 hits on on the same video the day after. Now, and you know, I don't think it's co-hosts, right? Because Jason and I played Jedi Fallen Order, right? We did that, and it got more hits than a normal Rage Select video, but AAA games always do better than indie games.
Yeah.
But there's something going on the back end of YouTube. Amanda and I played Leisure Suit Larry, Wet Dreams Don't Dry, and our video was like the second thing that came up when you searched for it, and suddenly that video had like 7,000 hits on it. And it was like, we didn't do anything differently. It was just a regular Let's Play. Amanda and I are making dick jokes and having fun. And like yesterday's video, the hit sucked. And today's video is the number one thing that comes up on YouTube. So there's some kind of algorithmic stuff that happens. I say all of that because I think what's going to happen is that if you hit the not safe for children, I think that YouTube is going to push that down in the rankings below somebody whose shit is safe for children, because they know it will have a wider demographic audience. It's the reason the Die Hard movies are PG-13 instead of rated fucking R, because they want more, like, if you're
talking about the new Die Hard movies.
The new Die Hard movies, yes. Because they want more people watching, and that means catering to a wider audience, which necessarily means skewing younger, because younger people have more disposable income, more time on their hands. And young people, I love you, but when I was 14, I wasn't I watched Johnny Mnemonic in the theater and then rented it like 4 times when it came out on VHS, because it was like I loved it so much. Like, sometimes when you're younger, you're not as picky about what you're into.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got a lot of money, and you don't have to pay fucking property taxes, right? You got a job at Taco Bell. You get to keep your entire paycheck because you live with your parents. You can spend it all and going to see Johnny Mnemonic in the theater. So when you widen your audience to younger people, I feel like you can make a lot more money. I feel like that's the reason. That's why we don't see as many M-rated video games, right? Is that T for teen is fine because you can still get the teens, but like once you get into M, and like nobody puts out AO rated games. It's like putting out NC-17 rated movies. Like, nobody's going to go see that.
Like, one game tried recently, and they even like sidestepped it. They're like, oh yeah, we're just not going to do that now,
right?
And it was a bad game anyways.
They're talking about Agony.
Yeah.
Well, that, and then they were like, we'll have the AO patch out in like 3 months, and then like, I mean, 6 months. I mean, like, I don't know, sometime maybe.
Never. Like, they just decided not to, basically.
Yeah. So I think that what's going to happen is that anybody that clicks that box is going to get depressed in the rankings, because YouTube has they don't give a shit, right? They've been fucking listen, this is a very common narrative, but like the weirdos that made YouTube a thing with like weird skit videos and art and like cartoons, like Spill, right?
Yeah.
Like, you would have a hard time. I wonder what it would be like for Hollywood.com and for fucking Corey if Spill was still around right now, because those are straight up cartoons. But like, I animated Johnny Knoxville's dick getting torn off for the Jackass movie. Cartoon Johnny Knoxville's dick getting ripped off by a car. Like, that's not suitable for children under 13. But like, does it appeal to children under 13? You bet your sweet bippy it does, right?
Yeah.
Like, so but then the going back to part C, you know, again, I don't know how much longer Rage Select's going to be financially viable. I'll be honest with you guys. Like, I'm trying as hard as I can. I'm trying to like cut costs where I can, but like, Michael, we're coming up on a new year, and there's going to be 2 new consoles to buy, and like, I eat like cheap food now. Like, I drink cheap beer. Like, I don't go out or do anything to try to save money because the Patreon has slipped so far. So like, I don't think I can afford to do like a fundraiser to get the new consoles, and that's in spite of the fact that I couldn't pay my taxes this year. So like, things are not the greatest.
That's the whole thing, guys.
Yeah. So the downside for me is the end result for me is, you know, if YouTube said, Jeff, we love all the monetization you've done for us over the years, we're deleting your channel, I'd be like, okay, well, I'm going to go find a new video hosting service. Like, Like what's that one the weird one that like BitChute or like Vimeo or
Vimeo?
Is Blip TV still a thing?
I don't know
like,
on that one. We could always just do Twitch
or Twitch. Just start putting stuff on Twitch.
Just start streaming.
Yeah,
become streamers.
And honestly, it'd probably be good for Rage Select because I just get to re-upload my entire back catalog and be like, I've got 6,000 videos, guys. Like,
I guess it's true.
We're going to upload, or every Friday, I'm going to put out 3 old videos, and we're going to make a Flashback Friday. Yeah. Check out back when Jason Murphy and I were young and full of vigor, sort of.
Full of more alcohol, I guess.
Yeah. But that's kind of where I am with this, is I don't know that it's... It's
a tricky situation.
The other thing is I have no power over it. It's like what was the one that they wanted to pass where everybody blacked out their web pages? I
don't even remember.
It was like 2 years ago and everybody's forgotten about it. Or like the fact that the EU passed that law about the
porn thing,
the meme,
the copyright thing.
Yeah, the copyright thing, and they've been trying so hard to get one of those copyright things through. Was it not DARPA? DACA? No, that DACA is that
started with a D. I just can't remember.
Something
anymore.
like that. Where like Wikipedia and Google and places where I remember the Wikipedia one was funny because Wikipedia shut off their website as a protest, and then high school kids were like, "How the fuck am I supposed to write papers?" It's like, well,
oh god, I'm fucked.
Books? Like what? What's that?
Library?
Okay, boomer. So anyway, that's where I am. I mean, Michael, I don't know if you have any strong feelings about this one or the other.
It's one of the. I have very similar things where it's just like this is gonna fuck a lot of people, especially a lot of people who ride that line very carefully.
Yeah,
a lot of animators and a lot of YouTubers like this could gradually affect a lot of Let's Players who try to be that like the Game Grumps, for instance, have tried being that direct in between for a long time.
Yeah,
and a lot more now.
Riding the line.
Yeah, a lot more even now. Like they're trying to a lot of their videos don't have them cussing nearly as much as they used to, kind of thing. And they had Weird Al on, kind of thing. Like they're desperately trying to be a little more family friendly.
Yeah,
in some way. But they also have videos where they literally read Sonic porn fan fiction kind of thing, so it's like
ripping off Rage Select. I see what's happening. ripping us off. Yeah,
exactly. It's just it's one of those things. There's a lot of Let's Players that are probably gonna get fucked on this more than anybody else.
Well, but then also, I mean, if you go back and watch Game Theorists, Matt Pat had a thing a few months back where he was like, how YouTube wants they get in this advertiser thing, right? Where it's like, advertisers want the most bland vanilla content on the internet to put their ads on, to put the really high paying ads on. But then that bland vanilla content also has to do really well in order to make money off those ads. And so they don't want to put an ad on Doom 2016 or Hitman or, a bloody video, Mortal Kombat 11 for fuck's sake. Right.
Yeah. Those were getting flagged because it was too realistic in violence for a while.
Yeah.
That was so,
and what do you do? How do you do it? Because a lot of people also don't realize that YouTube has had a hell of a time actually making money.
Yeah, actually, they lose a lot more money than they gain, to be honest.
Well, they've managed to do it now with the continuous playing, with the fact that it auto plays into the next video.
Yeah,
that's gotten them
There's
way
more ads on their videos now too,
and more ads too. That's why, honestly, I turned ads back on. I turned them on not because, okay, yes, at this point I do need the money. When I turned them on, I didn't need the money, but I was like, I think that YouTube might be not presenting my videos to people because they're like, well, you're not making us any money. Why the fuck should we show? If you're subscribed to 2 Let's Play channels and one of them has ads turned on and the other one doesn't, YouTube be like, well, show them the one with the ads, obviously. That's how we fucking make money over here.
Exactly.
So
that's the concession stand at the movie theater.
Yep. We got some quick questions here that we didn't get to last week, so we're going to run through these. Vanish Knight writes in and says, hello, Jeff and Michael. People have complained about shooter video games turning people violent. However, I think they're missing a point where a lot of these games are putting the player in the position of a hero. Why is this not ever brought up? Sincerely, Vanish Knight.
It's because it's the narrative. The narrative is we're all crazy murderer people.
Not to wade too far out into the political calculus, but I find that when video game violence gets brought up, it's to distract people from the much more difficult topic of a society where people can own lethal weapons, and then a society where people use lethal weapons, and the disconnect between the two of those.
Well, I don't even think it's 100% that. It's just that they like to just blame violent ideas on fiction.
Sure.
Like the Dungeons and Dragons thing is a great example of that. They're like, it's the devil's work or whatever. It's like, yeah, but all of these people are literally doing adventures to stop demonic things from happening.
Sure.
It's like it's literally the exact opposite of what you said it is, and that's what he said. It's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of shooters are about saving the world a lot of the times, or saving the country or city or wherever the hell it takes place, kind of thing.
Yep.
There's very few of them that are actually you as the bad guy, and even then, I don't.
Like hatred.
Yeah, really, and they're all like shitty games, kind of thing.
Yep.
Usually when that happens, except for I guess Spec Ops, because that one's a parody. That one's kind of a narrative.
Oh, it's like commentary. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that the people arguing that video games make you violent are arguing in good faith.
Yeah, they're not gamers, kind of thing.
Well, I
don't
just
understand that Sonic the Hedgehog isn't, a murder psycho.
Or what's the statement about causality? Like the thing is that if video games made people into violent killers, causation is not. I forget why I need that statement now more than ever. But basically, the way that I argue back against this is if video games make people into murder psychos, then there would be a lot more murder psychos, because
there'd be so many of them.
The number of people that play video games, I mean, Call of Duty is like the best-selling video game every year it comes out.
Yeah.
Like if shooting people in a video game made you violent, and the Grand Theft Auto 5 was the greatest selling video game of all time, the greatest selling media property of all time when it came out, then you would think that there would be this huge rash of violence that happened after Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, even if the percentage of people that played it, even if it was like 1% of the people that played Grand Theft Auto 5 turned into murder psychos. If you do the math on that, there should have been like the purge should have happened,
exactly.
right? Like,
Mortal Kombat 11 came out. It's one of the best selling games this year. But all of a sudden, people weren't just ripping each other's heads off, kind of thing,
right?
Or punching each other in the nuts more often.
I mean, we punch each other in the nuts enough. I think it's fine. So yeah, I don't think that when people make that argument that it's I tend to argue from the opposite direction and say I don't think that video games make violent. I think that violent people gravitate towards violent video games. Is that if that person had the console taken away from them in their life, they would have found some outlet that was not the console and probably had violent tendencies regardless.
They just do art, probably.
Yeah.
Everyone has their outlets.
Yep.
And honestly, they're more stress relief than anything for a lot of people.
Also, it is worth noting, since you brought up Dungeons and Dragons, to just remember that all of human history is full of how the new media is making the kids into crazies.
Yes. Stick and hoop.
Pulp novels, hard-boiled detective novels were making kids into violent psychos. Remember, D&D, satanic rock and roll music,
comic books,
regular rock and roll music,
yes,
comic books, cable television,
newspapers.
Cable television was doing that, and if it's not violence, you can go even further back with how the moral failing of the youth is due to them having access to adopting a new technology that's never been there before
because they're dancing.
Yeah. Gangster rap.
Yeah, absolutely on that one.
Yep, I was alive for that one. Parental advisory sticker. You don't want the kids to get that. Then
I actually remember it. Like I was young enough to have the memory of when that was a whole thing.
Yep,
kind of thing. And my brother having to trick my mom into not worrying about it. Oh, don't worry about that sticker. It doesn't mean anything. It's just part of the cover.
Yep, heavy metal music. I mean. Take your pick, man. Take your pick.
Anime.
Yep. Anime.
Wrestling is ruining the world.
Yep. Wrestling.
Power Rangers.
Sure.
That was an actual thing. I remember that.
Hey, you remember the Pokemon episode of South Park?
Oh yeah.
And I was talking about that when we were playing Pokemon. How Pokemon was giving kids seizures.
That one happened once.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it becomes this narrative, right?
Yeah.
That then they spin out because you know about the rainbow parties.
Oh yeah.
God, you guys got to go look up rainbow parties. How this was like a thing that somebody made up that then somebody else heard about and then was told, and they were like, the kids are all doing this, or like what was the thing?
Bracelets thing.
The bracelets, yeah.
Certain colors of bracelets meant one of them does anal. It's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. And I remember reading that and being like, what the fuck? I went to school at the wrong time. And it was like, well, it's not a real thing. It's just parents making up weird sex shit that their kids are supposed to be doing.
Yeah, because I was going to school at that point, and I remember asking someone, he's like, so doesn't that mean anything? I was like, no, I just like these colors. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah. So never underestimate the power of people to freak out about whatever the latest thing du jour is. So let's see. Alexander says, greetings, Jeff and Michael. With Death Stranding now birthed out into the world, what game or games are you most anticipating? I'm looking forward to Doom, but trying to keep my expectations in check. Your faithful patron, Alexander. What do you think? I always have a hard time because the beginning of the next year is always very sparse, and then it starts to ramp up in February.
Decent amount of stuff this time because Dragon Ball Kakarot comes out in January.
That's true.
I'm really excited for Doom, as he was saying. Really excited for Doom, actually.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one. There was a couple others, but I can't remember what they were that came out in January.
Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE is coming out. That's one. For the Switch. I mean, I've already played that game. Let's see. I'm just looking at like GameFly's page. Let's see here. It's hard to tell a lot of times. This isn't a very good page. One Punch Man comes out in February.
Oh, okay.
I want to play that. Let's see if I can find November 2020. Nope, this page hasn't been updated yet.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is definitely one that I know for a fact that I'm super giddy for.
I'm interested to hear more about Elden Ring. For sure, the new one from Dark Souls guy.
Oh, the Final Fantasy remake.
Final Fantasy 7 remake.
March.
Yeah. Stanley Parable redo.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely. I don't know if I'm excited for Avengers still, because that's supposed to be that year, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
I am looking forward to Halo Infinite though. I don't know when that comes out, but they say it's supposed to come out sometime in 2020. I
mean, obviously, Last of Us 2. I'm like iffy about. Ghost of Tsushima, though, I'm interested in.
Yeah, same.
It's hard to say because I feel like we're in that weird area where we're like at the end of the we're at the end of the generation.
Not only are we at the end of the generation, we're at that point where a lot of these games, even though they're announced for a certain time, can be delayed at any moment.
Yeah.
Because Doom was supposed to already be out.
That's true.
Kind of thing. And it was delayed like a month or two before it was set to release.
Happy Army 4 Darksiders Genesis comes out on the consoles early next year. One Punch Man. I'm trying to think of what else. Yeah, Doom. Neo 2-ish, a little bit.
Nah, I'm good. Psychonauts 2's that year?
I don't know if Psychonauts 2 actually has a release date. Cyberpunk, obviously.
Yeah. That one goes without saying.
Wasteland 3. Oh, yeah, I forgot that Shovel Knight Treasure Trove comes out at the end of the year.
Oh, okay.
Shovel Knight is amazing. This is a bad list. I don't know how excited I am for it, but I really like the My Hero Academia arena brawler game.
Coming out with another one.
Yeah, coming out with the second one.
I had to convince you to do that one for a dojo.
Yeah. Watch Dogs Legion should be coming out at some point.
I actually really did like that My Hero Academia, though, even if it was really, like, simple.
Yeah. There's stuff. I mean, I try hard not to look too far ahead. Also, I have made it my goal in life not to get like psyched as hell for any video game release because if you maintain a regular standard of excitement level, then if it's great, you can be like, wow, this is really good. And if it's bad, you can be like, well, there's other games out there.
I usually only get excited about stuff that I was already interested to begin with. Like, with, of course, the Dragon Ball thing and, of course, the Doom thing.
Yeah.
That's why I won with Star Wars. with Jedi Order. I wasn't super psyched for it, but I was like, maybe it'll be good.
Yeah.
And so and that's how I felt about that one. Death Stranding definitely was because we were already interested in that too. So.
Yeah. Mauricio writes in and says, hey, Jeff and Michael, Mauricio here. After months of trying to platinum Devil May Cry 5, I finally did it, and it can now be put to rest so I can play my next game with peace. Then I heard that semi-real or fake Joker 2 film that may not be produced since nothing was contracted yet, which got me thinking, what is a sequel of a franchise that you didn't want to happen? And if you like the sequel, or not. Thanks for Mauricio. I think Mauricio always needs to tell us what's going on in his life in the beginning of his emails.
It makes him happy.
So, hey, good job.
Good for you, buddy.
Platinuming Devil May Cry.
Good job on that, bud.
What's a sequel to a franchise that you didn't want to happen? I personally, and I know this is a thing, and that people don't like it. I don't think there should have been a Last of Us 2.
Yeah, you took my answer right away. Because I was thinking it, but I was like, we just talked about being kind of excited, but not really.
Yeah,
but that's the reason we're not really all that excited about it.
Well, it's just they didn't need one, right? They didn't need a sequel to that.
No,
game.
They didn't.
Told a complete story with a beginning, and middle, and end. I really wish they'd stopped at one John Wick movie, to be honest. I don't think John Wick 2 or 3 has really been anywhere near as good as that first movie was.
That's a good one. Honestly, okay, ironically enough, involving the same director for Hangover, they shouldn't have made any more Hangovers after the first one.
Oh,
because that first one only works because of how batshit insane it was, and there was nothing like it at the time.
Yeah,
and then they remade the movie almost literally, just set it in Thailand, kind of thing.
I never watched it. I watched the first one and was like, I don't see what everybody's so fucking like on about with this. It's fine.
I watched it at the right time, kind of thing, because I think I just graduated high school when it came out, kind of thing, and I just remember just loving it. Borat was another thing where because he kept trying to make things like it,
right?
Like they weren't sequels per se, but they were trying to be like it. Like Bruno, is a good example of that. That movie's awful.
I never watched it,
but game wise, a game that I felt like shouldn't have existed, but I liked was Uncharted 4. Because Uncharted 3 has such a good, like, happy ending kind of thing. But Uncharted 4 did a really good job at making me care about Nathan Drake and his post-happy ending kind of thing.
Not me. The game was too long. I think Naughty Dog makes their games too long. I mean, it's just like, I don't know. I think that the Uncharted series peaked at 2 and has kind of gone down since then. I mean, that's not to say that I think it's just like Last of Us 2. Naughty Dog doesn't make bad games.
No, they don't.
They're mechanically fun. It's just narratively speaking, it was like, let's tell the Nate and Sully story, and I'm like, okay, sure. The bad guy wasn't all that great, and I don't remember anything that really happened in 3, whereas I remember a lot about 2.
Yeah, 2 is super memorable.
The beginning in the city, and then like you go to Shangri-La, and the guys turn into the weird Yeti monsters at the end, and the Russian guy is there. I remember more about the 4 plot than I do about 3 because of Nadine and her relationship with her boss and all that. But I really didn't like pulling Nathan Drake's long-lost brother out to be like, and
there's one thing about 4 that still pisses me off, though, which is that he did not fact-check his brother at all.
Yeah.
At fucking all.
His brother was shady AF.
All you had to do was Google the dude's name.
Yeah.
That's all you had to do. It was just so frustrating. But that's part of that one. Movie, I'm trying to think of other stuff that definitely probably shouldn't have had a sequel.
Do you think, this is a weird question, do you think that Halo should have stopped after Halo 3?
I absolutely think Halo 3 should have, or Halo 3 was
maybe
the final
3 ODST reach, but not gone on to continue the Master Chief thing into 4 and 5.
I think 3 was a really good ending. The issue with 3 is that they added their own stinger to it, and so they kind of forced their hand at that point.
Yeah,
because the stinger. Because I remember that if you beat 3 on Legendary, the stinger is it shows the ship floating, and then this looming thing is in the horizon. So it was like, oh, maybe there's going to be a sequel, but its main plot really, if I was okay with it continuing, because 4 did a good job at trying to get the Cortana Master Chief relationship a lot more emotional kind of thing, which I thought it worked really well for them. But man, 5 was just such a bad time kind of thing. But yeah, 3, because that's the thing about 3 is it's Halo 1 through 3. It's a fairly simple story.
Yeah,
it's the super soldier fighting to save the world kind of thing, or the universe by the time it's done, and he does, and then the end kind of thing. And it worked. It worked for what it was because it's not too intricate. It's just a shooter.
Yeah,
you walk up, hit a button, shoot a bunch of things, and it works for it. And the music worked for it. But yeah, after 3, it just wasn't. Or after Reach, I guess game wise, it was never the same.
Ooh, I got one. Dark Souls.
Dark Souls.
I wish they'd stopped at 1, man. I wish they had. Like, I think that the longer the Dark Souls 2 ended up being very weird and kind of interesting in spite of itself, but like Dark Souls 3 just it did not do that much for me.
That's fair.
Like Bloodborne was way higher up on that list than there. If they had done like Demon Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and then there was always the idea of having another one called Dragon Souls, but then like the idea that Dark Souls was so popular they just had to keep churning out these sequels for it. I'm like, but the story of Dark Souls is like it's like a cycle, right? And like it works as a cycle. You don't make a sequel to a cycle. I mean, you can, and they did, and it's fine, but yeah, I'd rather they hadn't. Hell, man, I'm going to say right now that I think that if Kojima hadn't made MGS5 and had made Silent Hills instead, I probably would have been happier if I could choose between those timelines to have Silent Hills, because I thought that MGS4 really took care of the story of Solid Snake, and then Peace Walker was like the victory lap, and after that we should have just been like donezo. Yeah, like give it to Revengeance and go forward from there. You know,
Metal Gear Solid 5 didn't need to exist. And
it's fine. It's not a bad game or anything, but that story was so dense, and they kept having to cram new chapters in. And like, what happens at the end of MGS5 is a real mind job. And I still think mechanically it's great. The end of the story is such a weird retcon that like has these implications where you're like, whoa, dude. Like, it really is. You really stoner voice out at the end of that game.
Especially if you do certain sequences in the best, like in a way that works for, like, it's hard to explain without spoiling that part.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure people already know about it, but
it's basically,
if they don't, I don't want to say.
I don't want to spoil it, but basically, like, at the beginning of that game, there's an avatar, and if you make your avatar look like you, then when you get to the end of the game, and you're just like, what?
Yeah, you can even give it your name, which made it even funnier to me.
Yeah. But like that, if I could trade that game in for Silent Hills, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Well, absolutely.
Heartbeat. I mean, fucking Guillermo del Toro, Norman Reedus, Junji Ito, Hideo Kojima. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like the top 5 people you want to have dinner with before you die in heaven. Like, are you kidding me?
Speaking of Guillermo del Toro, there should not have been another Pacific Rim.
Oh, yeah.
That first one is so good. And
yes,
the second one is so...
not good.
Not great
not
at
good.
all.
Yep.
Like, goddamn you guys.
Yep. I mean, it wasn't him, but...
No, but that's the issue, is that, like,
oh, God.
Everyone will say The Matrix.
Yeah.
Everyone will say there shouldn't have been any other Matrix movies. But honestly, I think the fight scenes in the second one are a lot of fun.
I think The Matrix is one of those things where I think I saw it at the right time, so I have a lot of, like, when I watched The Matrix Revolutions, me and my friend went to go see it because we liked the first Matrix, because the first Matrix was like the last time in human history where you could go to the theater and not know what the hell was going to happen, and you go to watch this new Keanu Reeves hacker movie, and then you're like, what the fuck? It's the future? It's a computer? What the... Larry Fishburne, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, you can get away with that back then. Like, Cowboy Curtis is the resistance leader.
Yep.
Like, what's happening?
And we got out of Matrix Revolutions, and we would spend hours just coming up with theories about, like, what does it mean with the architect, and how did Neo stop that sentinel at the end? Like, maybe he's connected to it. I was watching it the other day, and I had this thought about it, and so we really got into it. And then the third one came around, and of course, you know, it wasn't anything. They never really explained that in a way that was good. But I didn't think it was quite as bad. It at least took a shot and missed, as opposed to being real safe, right? Like, John Wick, I feel like, has been real safe, because John Wick's been like, John Wick 2, more John Wick. Like, what if John Wick killed more people? I'm like, okay, what about the third one? Are you guys going to do something interesting? What if we talk about the backstory to the dumb hotel full of goth girls that take your assassin order? And I'm like, no, that was the least interesting part. The interesting part was John Wick. His wife died, and he's got the dog, and that's the interesting part. And then the more they expand that universe, the more I'm like, you could keep it. I just
The Force Unleashed also didn't need a sequel.
I was thinking about that, but then I thought, I don't know if I need the Force Unleashed one.
You don't, actually. Okay, here's the thing about choosing a different timeline.
Yeah.
I've told you this story, right? That the Force Unleashed was made because they canceled the Indiana Jones game they were going to originally make with that engine. They were going to make an Indiana Jones game that you can find the footage of online of them like taunting the new engine. Like if you grab a guy, and like it even has like an old timey announcer dude because it's supposed to be like that time frame.
Yeah,
it's like if you grab a guy and throw him in a car, it does different reactions each time. They're so proud of this engine.
Yeah,
and they just canceled that Indiana Jones games and then made another fucking Star Wars game out of it. That's what I would definitely trade and see what would have happened.
There's a lot of Star Wars games that I would trade in for credit for something else. I mean,
for a whole other game.
Bounty Hunter, Bombad Racing, Star Wars Starfighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, maybe even. Like, it didn't have a story campaign, and I wasn't really having it. But never Jedi Knight. With those horrible, horrible live-action cutscenes.
Yeah, that was the whole thing.
So bad. Anyway, let's take some Discord questions before we wrap up.
Also, Solo.
Solo the movie?
Yeah,
I like Solo the movie.
Well, the thing is, it didn't even exist, but I liked it.
Yeah,
that was an answer to a question that
you can keep Rogue One though.
Yeah.
You can have Rogue One back any day of the week.
I liked it.
I didn't care. I just couldn't care. I didn't care about any of the characters, so then they started killing them off, and I was like, oh no, guy. Other guy. That, like, there's a whole point in that movie where they put that squid on the pilot, and they're like, it's going to make him crazy, and then he's just not crazy.
Oh, yeah, that's
and
true.
I'm like, why would you say that?
He's
why
just
would
normal.
you leave the line in about how he's going to turn crazy, or how, like, Saw Gerrera is the General Grievous of the new generation because they keep talking about what a badass Saw Gerrera is, and it's just a portly, wheezing Forrest Whitaker who gets blown up for
My
no
favorite
reason.
thing about what happened with that character is that you remember the old trailers? He used to have this giant fuck off afro looking thing.
No. Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I
He
do.
had this like stupid giant like massive afro hair thing that was just all over the place, and then they just didn't use it at all.
CGI Moff Tarkin.
A whole lot of weird shit.
Before that was going to happen. And then all that Vader shit that just didn't need to, like, I don't, what, am I supposed to really, like, be like, oh, the poor man who created the Death Star, he keeps getting shit on by Grand Moff Tarkin. Bitch, you built a planet destroyer. Like, you know, you're fucking Oppenheimer. I am, now comes, I'm the bringer of death, destroyer of worlds or whatever. Like, you were never doing this to, like for good reasons. You were making the space station to blow stuff up for bad reasons. I don't care.
That's a whole thing, guys.
You killed Jyn Erso's mom and like dragged fucking Norman Reedus. No, Mads Mikkelsen away.
That's Stranding in your head.
Yeah, you dragged Mads Mikkelsen away to make your Death Star and fuck you. Like, I don't care. I don't know. I just couldn't get into that movie. Maybe I need to watch it again someday.
Yeah, that's okay.
Let's see. Septum Sin asked about COPPA, but I feel like we kind of he said YouTube create. Okay, dear Rage Lords, as a YouTube creator, I have a lot of concerns of the upcoming COPPA ruling. Any advice for a small time creator? Is this just more YouTube bullcrap? From Septum Sin. I don't have any advice because I don't know. Like it's and the problem is that we'll never know because YouTube won't communicate it. It'll just be like, I got my YouTube account deleted and I appealed it and they were like, nope. And I'm like, why? And they're like, COPPA. I'm like, what about COPPA? Like, COPPA, bye. And then that's it. Like, I swear to God, it's going to happen. And I have no way, you know, you could put like, this video is for adults only at the beginning of your thing. It doesn't mean anything. Like, if they decide that they're going to fuck with you, you have no rights in the court of YouTube. YouTube can do whatever they want to, and it doesn't matter.
My advice, invest in gold.
Yes. Okay, Alex Jones. No, that's I'm sorry. That's different. That's a different conservative talk show host. You'd be hawking vitamin pills if you were Alex Jones. Mike
Minerals.
says, "Hello, selectioners of Rage. There's been a lot said about toxic fandoms pushing newcomers and casual fans alike away from the thing they're fans of. Nowhere near as much has been said about good fandom interactions. Have there been any counterexamples where a great fan base helped you get into a property? For me, the fan base around Darkest Dungeon, with its friendliness and constant gallows humor memes about things going wrong in the game, kept me into it a lot longer than I likely would have been otherwise. Have a great night," and that's from Mike.
You'd be surprised how inclusive the JoJo's Bizarre Adventure fandom is. Sure, they spout mostly in memes, but they're very nice people.
I can see it. I gotta say that in the beginning, at least, Souls, right? Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there wasn't very much information about it, and so people were helping each other out. Like, the whole game had the putting down the signs and stuff. I tell you what, man, I cannot imagine playing Death Stranding without being online.
Oh no, that game would not work without the online.
Like, just the amount of like weird, helpful stuff and even like I've only run into a few places where somebody put down like a ladder to nowhere, and then I climbed it and I was like, okay, that's fine.
Like, neat.
I'm not just gonna go back down.
Just gonna jump off of
or
this.
jump off of
It'll
it.
be fine.
Try some shit. Yeah, but let's see.
Gundam gunplay builders are super nice people.
Yeah,
They'll like always like if you're just like look like because there's hobby towns here in Austin, and if you go to them and just stand in front of the Gundam aisle, eventually you'll just run into one, and then they'll give you advice on stuff and like paints and brushes and all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
They're all really sweet people when it comes to like helping you build stuff.
I'm trying to think. The problem that I have is that I don't really get into fandoms. I don't really go on like the subreddit for Rick and Morty and look at it, or
Well, there's
or even Death Stranding, or
I have quite a few stories about good fandoms.
Yeah.
A lot of them kind of involve how I got here, kind of thing. Like the Spill fandom.
Yeah.
The Spill fandom was a great example of people being like open arm kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And now like I know so many of them. I spent Thanksgiving with people I met essentially through that.
Yeah.
I'm literally here because of that. This conversation would not be happening without that kind of thing. The Funhouse community also seems to be real nice. I tend to interact with those guys through their Reddit.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun.
That's good.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of YouTube fandoms and stuff. Like, they're actually usually pretty nice, considering. Like, the Rooster Teeth fandom is also very, very welcoming kind of thing. If you're like starting out in their stuff, like very few of them will tell you to go fuck yourself, kind of thing. Like a good example is 2 RTXs ago, Mike was in the bathroom. I just started talking to the dude next to me while I waited for him.
Yeah.
And when he came out, like he was like, "Did you know that guy? It looked like you're talking to him for a while. Like you knew him for ages." I was like, "No, I just met that guy."
Yeah.
And he was just super nice, and we just talked like for like 20 minutes. And yeah, fandoms can be good. It just depends on your interaction.
Also, I'm just going to take a brief aside here. If you're nice, you can just talk to anybody for 20 minutes.
That's true.
I talked to a lady behind me. Like I was at the grocery store, and some lady was in the 15 items or less thing and had like 40 things in her basket. And she was like, "Why don't you go ahead? You seem to have less." And I don't think she was from America. I don't think she really understood what line she was in.
Okay.
But I did take the opportunity, and then I just ended up chatting with her. I was just like, blah blah blah, what you making? And I was like to look at what people are buying at the grocery store and be like, "What are you making? Tell me what you're making. I bet you're making nachos. Are you making nachos? Oh, I have a question. Okay. So a few podcasts back, John talked to me about a thing that I'd never heard about, and like the same day, I had watched Binging with Babish from the episode of The Good Place where Eleanor's eating the nachos. Okay, and I've never heard this before. Making nachos with shredded cheese and then queso over shredded cheese. Do you do this?
Do I do this?
Have you ever encountered this before? I'd never heard of this until a couple weeks back.
No, I've never heard of it myself, but most my time I don't really eat nachos though.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a guy who goes out and buys nachos, even like cheese wise. Usually if I buy something chip related, it's just kind of like those Mexican tortilla chips, and it's just a lot of salsa.
Okay.
So it's not really a lot of cheese comes into play.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I've never heard of this before. I've never heard of
it either.
Shredded cheese and then putting liquid cheese over the shredded cheese.
It sounds like a good idea, though.
Well, binging with Babish said it's great because you get kind of like, the mouthfeel of like shredded cheese, but then you also have the liquid cheese on top, and it's like a big double cheese blast.
I'd never heard of it.
I told my sister that, and she just said, fuck you to me. And I was like, it's just a lot of cheese. And she was like, no, it's not how you make nachos. And I was like, you don't even make nachos. She's like, it's the principle. And I'm like, the principle of nachos? I don't think, if you're going to draw a line in the sand, I don't think nachos is the place to draw the line.
It's an interesting cheese line to draw.
Yeah. Let's see. Kate Josie, I appreciate your question, but it's a little heavy, and we're just about done here. So I'm gonna save it for next time. But I did see it, and we're gonna end with a food question since we were already talking about it.
Oh, geez.
Nathan Lilly writes in and says, "Hi, Jeff and Michael. What food and or drink are you currently obsessed about, or think you're eating too much of?" Asking because I feel like I've had too much Cane's chicken tenders for lunch over the past couple weeks. They're tasty, but I'm almost getting tired of fried chicken. LOL. Almost. I have a remarkable fortitude to eat the exact same thing over and over and over again without getting sick of it.
I do too, actually.
So like I've been eating the exact same chicken sandwich from the place down the street, from P. Terry's down the street from my house for like 4 years now. Like made the exact same way. Had one today.
I eat pizza pretty much every day.
Really?
Pretty much every day.
Every time I eat pizza, it makes me sick.
Damn near every day. Like when I was living in San Antonio, that's all I had every single day.
Yeah.
I would get off of work, I'd get home, order a Domino's pizza for delivery, and to the point where I knew the delivery drivers' names, I knew their kids' names, I knew like where they went on vacation kind of thing. Like I knew these dudes, like we were tight kind of thing. But that's how much pizza I ate, kind of thing.
Damn.
And I never got tired of it. Like there wasn't a time where I was like, I don't want to have a pizza right now. I was just like, I'm just gonna get another one. Fuck it.
I've been because of the aforementioned downturn in Rage Select hits, I've been rotating between a few different very cheap food options. The cheapest one is the sous vide pork chops with rice and then roasted cabbage wedges. So you take cabbage and split it, and then just like put a bunch of olive oil and salt and pepper on it, put them in like a 500-degree oven, then like flip them over, do the other side, and just you get this big, it's like a big wedge of cabbage that you can just cut, and it's easy. And then sous vide pork chops and finish them off in a cast iron skillet, and then cook the rice with the chicken broth. It's very, very cheap. Very cheap.
Yeah.
Recently, though, Drunk Jeff has gotten really adept at breakfast. Once I figured out that you can oven roast like russet potatoes, that you get like a 2-pound bag for $2 at the store, and you can just peel them, cut them, drizzle them in oil, put them on a pan, put them in the oven, and then you get like hash browns out of that, right? That's like the hardest part of making breakfast is how do you make the hash browns? And then it's like, well, the rest of it's just grate some cheese, throw some tortillas in the oven, pull them out, scramble up a couple eggs. That's no problem. Bam, boom, boom, boom. So the problem is that Drunk Jeff is a glutton. And so I literally make 4 breakfast tacos that each have like an entire egg worth of scrambled eggs in them.
Oh, geez.
And then like a lot of potatoes, like 3 potatoes and a lot of cheese and salsa and stuff like that. And then sandwiches.
Sandwiches are good.
Turkey sandwiches. No, turkey sandwiches. You got to put a boiled egg on your turkey sandwich, man. No, it's great. You boil up some eggs, take one of those, cut it up, put it on your sandwich. It makes it just like, especially if you put some bacon in there too.
Yeah, apparently,
turkey, bacon, boiled egg.
Where Matt is in Japan, he can get a boiled egg on a hamburger at McDonald's. Apparently, so that's neat.
Yeah, you got to put eggs on more stuff. Carton of eggs at my grocery store is like $1.
They're really cheap, actually.
So I get them, and I'm just like, if I can't scramble them, then I'll boil them, or I'll fry one and put it on top of something. Take that pork chop, put a fried egg on it, man.
We used to buy those like because my uncle used to work at a place that had like a farm on it. You just buy those giant stacks of eggs from him for like super cheap.
The big like
they're like complete like super
carton.
They're like super brown kind of thing.
Yeah,
they're like super like straight from the chicken kind of thing.
Yep.
And just had shit tons of them. We used to drive down the Eagle Pass and you just put a giant chunk of them in the car and would drive back.
There is a place whenever I get paid, I usually only can do it once a month now, that's right up the street from me, that has my favorite. I love Chinese food, but it's kind of expensive. Like it's easier to make pork chops than it is for me to buy Chinese food because and you can't make Chinese food at home because the industrial burner at a Chinese food restaurant can get up to like 500 degrees and you can get the wok up to like 500 degrees to cook these things, and you can't, like, I've actually seen people that replicate this by like taking the chimney starter for a grill and like starting it and then putting the wok on top of it outside, because the only way to get your wok hot enough to cook like they do in the Chinese restaurant. And or I guess I should say Asian. I don't know. I mean,
either way, still though,
it is Chinese food though, because it's not like Vietnamese or Japanese or any of that stuff. But this place down the street has this dish that's like the chicken, right? Just white meat chicken like you would normally get, which is actually even more difficult to produce because that chicken is velveted. That's what it's called, where you take the chicken apart, roll it in flour, and put it in boiling water really quickly to like seal up the outside of it, and then take it out, and then later fry that in the oil in the wok. But it's like chicken and then strips of tofu and like, oh man, my mouth is watering just thinking about it. Like onions and celery and all these vegetables and stuff, and it's just it's fantastic. I love it, but I can only get it like once a month because it's like $25 to get.
Oh shit! So. God damn.
Well, I also
still though that's
to go all out and get the get the soup, get the egg rolls, get the whole 9 yards. But yeah, I did get one of those Domino's. Well, ever since I found out the Domino's, it's like super close to my house, is like $8 carry out.
It's so cheap.
And I'm like, I pay $8 for that hamburger, man. And the problem is that every time I eat the Domino's pizza, it makes me ill. It makes my insides writhe. It's full of snakes on my insides.
I need to go back to eating just bean tacos every day.
Yeah.
When I grew up, that's something I used to eat all the time, was just bean tacos, to the point where that's all my grandmother would make me when I got home. Or not home, but when I visited her.
You make homemade refried beans. So they're like really good refried beans.
Yeah, they used to always make some. So it's some of the best beans I've ever had still to this day.
Yeah,
it was made by my grandmothers, and they were both really, really good at it.
Yeah,
and I wish I had knew Spanish to ask them how they did it.
Refried beans are not that difficult to make.
There was something very specific at how they did it.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
And I don't.
I tried to flex on your grandma, man.
I don't. The thing is, I don't know their secrets. Is the thing, and I probably will never find out to this day.
Find out. Tell me. I want your grandmother's secrets. I want the bean secrets, Michael. It's range flex going down. I got to open up a taco truck. I need your grandmother's bean secrets to do so.
Oh, geez.
With that, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. Hey, because we talked about it, patreon.com/Rage Select. Maybe go there and make the money happen, or if you are already making the money happen, maybe share this out on a social media website. That way other people can find it and they can make the money happen, and then I won't have to open up that taco truck, even though I'm pretty sure there's a cross-section of the Rage Select audience that wants me to do that so that they can come to Austin and come to the Jeff taco truck and get tacos.
What would you call it?
Taco Select, obviously. What are you talking about? The name is already done. I picked my theme, Michael. I'm going to live with it.